Chapter 4476. How is this possible? The misty peak was stupefied. Xingchen even spouted a mouthful of blood. No, he roared crazily. No one had expected such an outcome. Xueqi had been defeated. Moreover, the victor was a battle servant. Are you all right? Lin Xian looked at Xueqi, who was below the arena, and asked concernedly. Xueqi shook her head and said, I'm all right. Your body is really strong, and I will surely catch up to you one day. She revealed a beautiful smile. Soon after, she said, since you have won, you will be my husband from now on. Her voice was like 10,000 claps of thunder, and it stunned everyone. Xian high jumped out and said, I don't agree. Xingchen also roared, I also don't agree. How can you marry a battle servant? No way. Am I dreaming? Damn it. Is Xueqi really going to marry a battle servant? Is this a joke? The people in the surroundings went into an uproar. The 1,000 mountain paradises people went crazy. If this matter spread, they would lose all face. Xueqi said coldly, Why can't I? I said that I will marry anyone who defeats me. Now Lin Xian defeated me, so I must fulfill my promise. I don't believe that you didn't want to marry me, and that's why you came up with such a plan. You lost to him on purpose. Xingchen roared. He couldn't accept this. That's right. We also found it suspicious. You can't be weaker than him. What? Do you want to go back on your word? Do you want to go back on your word in front of everyone? Lin Xian laughed loudly and looked at Xingchen. You don't accept it? Come over and fight me. I will personally show you the disparity between us. Is this guy challenging the Misty Peak? The people in the surroundings felt like they had gone crazy. Xingchen was so angry that he clenched his teeth and walked over. However, Yu Hua said, No, you just got injured and your power isn't at its peak. Lad, do you want to take advantage of him? Upon hearing this, Lin Xian laughed heartily. Take advantage of him? He is a saint king, while I am just a saint venerable. We fought fairly, yet you still think that he is at a disadvantage? What a misty peak. It turns out that all of you are so cowardly. Fine, I will fight you with one hand. Do you dare to come over? At this moment, Lin Xian was like a peerless overlord, smiling proudly in all directions. You're courting death. I will kill you with my own hands. Stardust was completely enraged. He was a peerless heaven's favorite, who was above the grotto heavens. Now that he was being challenged by a battle servant, how could he not fight? His figure flickered, and he flew out. Speaking of which, come on, brat. I will let you know the consequences of offending me. With one hand behind his back, Lin Xian said, I'll give you a handicap with one hand. Otherwise, you people from the Misty Peak will think that I'm taking advantage of your precarious situation. Xingchen snorted coldly. He didn't say anything else and directly attacked. Galaxy Seal. He formed a seal with his palm and struck out. A river of stars condensed in his palm. With a single strike, it tore through the heavens and earth. Stardust didn't hold anything back in this attack. Lin Xian attacked with a single hand. His palm formed a seal, and the man-ruler seal also struck out. At this moment, he was incomparably domineering, as if a celestial emperor had descended. Boom! Their superpowers collided in the air. With a crack, the galaxy seal shattered. The man-ruler seal swept out with the momentum of Mount Tai. Boom! Xingchen's face changed drastically, and he frantically retreated. In an instant, his arm was broken and turned into a blood mist. Half of his body was completely shattered, and he flew out. He lost. In just one move, Xingchen was seriously injured. Could it be that the gap between the two of them was really that big? Xingchen roared to the sky, I'm going to kill you. His glabella split open, and a wisp of starlight surrounded his finger. Star's spirit finger. With a point of his finger, it tore through the void with a supreme aura. Lin Xian snorted coldly and struck out with the man-ruler seal again. That terrifying palm made the heavens and earth shatter again. After one strike, the star spirit finger turned into ashes. Xing Chen's body was torn into pieces. His crazy roar made everyone's scalp tingle. The people from the Misty Peak were stunned. This guy really defeated Xing Chen with one hand. Why? Do you still think you're qualified to compete with me? Lin Xian looked at him with disdain. You. Xing Chen was so angry that he vomited blood. Lin Xian said, I've already given you a handicap with one hand, and you're only a Saint Venerable. Are you still using your injuries as an excuse? If you're not convinced, I'll give you time to recover to your peak. But when the time comes, I'll fight you to the death. Do you dare? Xing Chen was completely stunned, and he fainted from anger. His senior brother, Yu Hua, and the others also rushed over. You're courting death. Yu Hua waved her hand, and a flying sword like a rainbow streaked across the sky. This was a sage artifact, and Yu Hua was at the peak. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His 5 fingers formed a claw and directly grabbed the flying sword. Then he enveloped it. With a crack, the illusion of a huge mountain appeared on his palm, as if it had crossed time and space. Mountain embracing seal. It directly broke the flying sword into 2. Yu Hua vomited blood and flew backward. Her sage artifact was broken, and she was also seriously injured. His 5 fingers opened, and the broken flying sword fell from his palm. Lin Xian looked around like a supreme god. Who else was not convinced? Come out! At this moment, he was so strong that ethereal peak could not raise their heads. Everyone was stunned and silent. Dugaju's face was as cold as water. This time, he had really lost face. I'm not convinced. Xianhai walked out. You're just a battle servant. What qualifications do you have to marry my daughter? What qualifications do I have? Lin Xian sneered. I've won. Can't you see it? I defeated Xing Chen single-handedly. Are you blind? What qualifications do you think I have? I'm honest. Strength is my qualification. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, and he did not back down. You're courting death. Xian Hai snorted. Where's the 3-eyed elder? In the distance, a woman flew over. She was wearing a Taoist robe and had a 3rd eye between her brows. At this moment, she looked at Lin Xian and sighed. You're a top genius in other worlds, but here, you're still just a battle servant. So what if you win? Kneel down. The 3rd eye between her brows bloomed and formed a divine light that pierced through Lin Xian. The others were in despair. This guy's fate was really tragic. They were afraid that he would be completely suppressed. Lin Xian sneered and waved his hand, shattering the divine light. You want me to kneel down? Just you? How is that possible? The 3-eyed elder was stunned. You're not affected? He used the life and death curse, but Lin Xian stood there with a cold face. He was not affected at all. How did you break the life and death curse? Lin Xian did not reply. He stood there with his hands behind his back, as if he was going to be the enemy of the entire world. Damn it. Men, take him down. Xian Hai shouted angrily when he saw this. Countless saint kings in the surroundings stood up. So what if he was strong? Could he fight against the entire grotto heaven? At this moment, the sagely heaven's old ancestor snorted. Enough! Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Xian Hai, since Xueqi set the rules herself, you have to follow them. Otherwise, what will the world think of our 1,000 mountain grotto heaven? Chapter 4477. That's right. Elder Xian Hai, you went back on your words. What do you think of 1,000 mountain grotto? Yan Mo also sneered. The 2 of them were also shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to win. Since that was the case, they would go with the flow. This way, Black Ice Ancestor would not be able to work with Misty Peak. To them, this was simply great news. They were naturally happy to see this happen. Xian Hai was about to vomit blood. The other party was an ancestor. He did not dare to go against him. He could only look at his father. Black Ice Ancestor's face was cold. This matter was too strange. This kid was not controlled by the life and death curse. I suspect that Shwet-Chi was deceived by him. He looked at Dugaju and said, Daoist Dugu, I've let you see a joke. However, I will give you a satisfactory explanation. After saying that, he stood up and looked around. Everyone, the martial arts competition has ended. Thousand Mountain Grotto has something to deal with. I hope you can make it easy for us. The people of the other grotto heavens and ancient race felt their scalps go numb when they heard this. They stood up and took their leave one after another. At the same time, they looked at Lin Xian with pity. This kid, so what if he won? He was still going to die. Just as everyone was about to leave, a cold snort sounded. Humph, Thousand Mountain Grotto, you have made me lose. Everyone was stunned. Who dared to challenge Thousand Mountain Grotto at this time? Xianhai was also angry. Who was so courting death? Before he finished speaking, he was stunned. He realized that the person who spoke was Jian Wuk. Jian Wuk stood up and smiled. I said it. Do you have a problem with that? Xianhai was sweating profusely. He did not dare to speak. Black Ice Ancestor frowned. Daoist Wuk, what do you mean? Jian Wuk said proudly, my meaning is clear. This young man defeated a sacred king with one hand as a sacred venerate. He was a heaven-defying expert. Even in Misty Peak, there were not many people with such talent. But you want to be a battle servant? And you want to destroy him? How stupid. If Thousand Mountain Grotto does not want such a genius, then Xiantian Pavilion will. Jian Wuk's words resounded in the surroundings. When the surrounding people heard this, they were all stunned. As for the sacred kings, their pupils constricted. Xiantian Pavilion. This name was so familiar, it was like a thunderclap reverberating in his ears. Because it was also a force that was not weaker than the Misty Peak. The only difference was that Ethereal Peak controlled this region, while Xiantian Pavilion was the overlord of another region. He just didn't expect that the people from Xiantian Pavilion would actually come here this time. And he even said such words. Shwet-Chi stood there and looked at Lin Xian, who was standing proudly in front of her. She heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, she was extremely nervous just now. If the Heavenly Grotto had made a move, she would have risked everything to fight against Lin Xian, or even leave this place. Who would have thought that in the end, the Xiantian Pavilion's people would actually stand up and think so highly of Lin Xian? In the Black Sea, Yenemo was stunned. Even the two patriarchs were stunned. Did Xiantian Pavilion think highly of him? Truth be told, it wasn't that they didn't know that Zhang Xian was a genius, but they were used to being high and mighty. It was only natural that they would find it intolerable to be injured by an ant in their eyes. So, what if he was a genius? They would still trample him to death. But now, Xiantian Pavilion's words shocked them. If Xiantian Pavilion made a move to protect Lin Xian, they wouldn't dare to make a move. At this moment, Dugaju stood up. Daoist Wuk, I don't agree with your words. This young man is a peerless genius, but Ethereal Peak is filled with talents. There are too many people who can surpass him. Too many? Jian Wuk sneered. Then you better find one for me now. With the cultivation of a Saint Venerable who could compete with him, then I will leave Xiantian Pavilion. Dugaju didn't say anything. To be honest, he really couldn't find one. A half-step Saint King with a Saint King's weapon could, at most, compete with a Saint King. It was too difficult to defeat a Saint King. Not to mention a Saint Venerable defeating a Saint King with his bare hands. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Seeing that Zhang Xian was silent, Jian Wuk sneered. Then he turned his head and asked, Little fellow, are you willing to join Xiantian Pavilion? Lin Xian raised his head and looked at Jian Wuk. He cupped his fists and said, Thank you, senior. I am willing. Although Lin Xian didn't know Jian Wuk, he could feel Jian Wuk's kindness. This was completely different from the holy heaven's old ancestor helping him. Good. Jian Wuk laughed and took out a token. This was the Xiantian token. From now on, you are a disciple of Xiantian Pavilion. The people in the surrounding grottos were all stunned. Some of the geniuses' eyes turned red. A disciple of Xiantian Pavilion. This was the same as joining Ethereal Peak. This was their lifelong wish and dream. They had worked hard for their entire lives and still hadn't achieved this goal. Now, Jian Wuk had become a member of Xiantian Pavilion so easily. Even Xian Hai's pupils shrank. This meant that Jian Wuk's status was different. Jian Wuk laughed. Why, now that I am a member of Xiantian Pavilion, I am qualified to marry Xueqi, right? What? Xian Hai was stunned. Elder Xian Bing also sighed. He closed his eyes and said helplessly, yes. Then he looked at Duguju. Brother Dugu, it seems like Xueqi and young Master Xingchen aren't fated to be together. I will return all the gifts you gave me. After this matter, I will personally go to Ethereal Peak and apologize. Duguju snorted and waved his hand. The laws in the sky brought Xingchen, Yuhua, and the others into the sky and left. Today was too embarrassing. Ethereal Peak was defeated by a battle servant to the point where they couldn't raise their heads. They didn't have the face to stay here anymore. Very good. Then let's start preparing. I still want to attend the wedding. Jian Wuk laughed. Black Ice old ancestor said, Brother Wuk, you must be joking. Although I have acknowledged the relationship between the two of them, the wedding isn't something that can be held in a day. Our 1,000 mountain grottos needs to prepare well. All right, I will wait. Don't make Xiantian Pavilion wait for too long. Jian Wuk said coldly. Then he looked at Lin Xian. Kid, report to Xiantian Pavilion when you are free. Your token is a symbol of your identity. When you are in danger, you can use the array on the token to call for help from Xiantian Pavilion. Xiantian Pavilion will immediately send experts over. I want to see who dares to go against Xiantian Pavilion. His last words were for Black Ice old ancestor and 1,000 mountain grottos. Indeed, the people from 1,000 mountain grottos felt their scalps go numb. They didn't dare to fight against such a terrifying existence. Jian Wuk left, but the matter didn't seem to have stopped. After the people from the other grottos left, the news spread throughout the world. Countless people were shocked. They didn't expect the marriage by joust to be such a thing. They thought of countless possibilities. They even thought that the final winner would be Ethereal Peak. But things were out of their expectations. A battle servant had actually won and become a disciple of the Xiantian Pavilion. Chapter 4478. For a time, many people were shocked and envious. It could be said that everyone in the world was talking about this matter. In the Misty Peak, Xingchen and the others had become the target of ridicule. In the Star Pavilion, Xingchen was roaring crazily as the mountains were shattered. He was so angry that he went crazy. Lin Xian, I don't care who you are. I want you to die. I will make you die without a burial place. Xingchen's anger was burning. On the other side, in the 1,000 mountain cave, the atmosphere was also very strange. In the Dark Ice Palace, Black Ice Ancestor and Xian Hai were in the palace, and the atmosphere was silent. Xian Hai was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. Father, what should we do next? Should we let this kid be with Xueqi? Of course not. Black Ice Ancestor's eyes were also shining with a terrifying light. Even if he is talented, so what? Even if he becomes a disciple of the Dark Sky Pavilion, so what? No matter how strong he is, he can't compete with the Star Tribe. Although Xingchen was defeated, he is still a member of the Star Tribe. You know how terrifying the Star Tribe is in Ethereal Peak. I don't think I need to tell you. No matter how strong this kid is, his background is too weak. We won't choose him. However, we don't have to oppose him because we will offend the Dark Sky Pavilion. We will think of a way to send Xueqi. to the Misty Peak to cultivate. In this way, the two of them will separate. When Xue Qi sees how strong the Star Tribe is, she will change her mind. However, before that, I have to go to the Misty Peak and apologize to them personally in the Divine Heaven Pavilion. The Divine Heaven Old Ancestor and Yen Mo were also together. Yen Mo said with a smile, although this matter was unexpected, Xingchen didn't marry Xue Qi. Yes, the Divine Heaven Old Ancestor nodded. Although this kid is strange, things are going according to our plan. However, I guess that Black Ice Ancestor will find a way to contact the Misty Peak. It seems like I have to go to the Misty Peak. The two great saints were preparing to take action secretly. On the other side, Xue Qi and Lin Xian were very relaxed. Without any worries, the two of them returned to their mansion. Only Lin Xian and Xue Qi were here. This was why Xue Qi didn't put on an iceberg appearance, and a beautiful smile appeared on her face. Husband, how are you going to compensate me for injuring me earlier? Lin Xian smiled and said, then let's do it again. Let's see if your 9 body is more powerful than my 9 young divine body. He took Xue Qi with him and walked into the hall. The two great physiques merged perfectly once again. In the following days, Lin Xian and Xue Qi were together, and many people were envious of them. On this day, Xue Qi and Lin Xian were quickly walking toward a mountain peak. The Thousand Mountain Cave, as its name suggested, had many peaks, and one of them was called the First Peak. The First Peak contained an unparalleled spiritual pulse. The benefits one could obtain from cultivating here were undeniably huge. Only those with extraordinary status could come here. Xue Qi possessed such a status. On this day, she and Lin Xian turned into streaks of light and landed on the first peak. Stop. From inside, 3 figures walked out in an instant and shouted coldly. These 3 people were all Saint Kings, and they were in charge of guarding the first peak. It's me. Xue Qi took out a badge. The 3 Saint Kings said, Greetings, Princess Xue Qi. You haven't cultivated here for a long time. Xue Qi nodded. My palace is still there, right? Bring me there. After she spoke, she started walking forward. The 3 Saint Kings in front of her also opened up a path for her. However, when they saw that Lin Xian was about to follow her into the first peak, they walked out again and blocked his path. You can't go in. Lin Xian furrowed his brows, while Xue Qi's expression became gloomy. Do you dare to block my path? Princess Xue Qi, I don't think I need to explain how important the first peak is. Only certain people can enter it. You are qualified. However, this guy isn't qualified. The 3 Saint Kings' expressions were ice cold, and their faces were filled with killing intent as they stared at Lin Xian. Xue Qi snorted coldly. Who said that he isn't qualified? He's my husband. Do you think that he's qualified? The 3 Saint Kings' expressions changed drastically. They had been guarding the first peak all this time, and they didn't know much about what had happened outside. They only knew that something had happened during Xue Qi's contest for a spouse. However, they didn't expect that this person was Xue Qi's husband. The 3 Saint Kings' expressions became gloomy. Xue Qi asked once again, Is my husband not qualified to enter it? Do you want me to ask the ancestor? The 3 Saint Kings' expressions changed drastically, and the one leading them said, Please come in. The 3 Saint Kings opened up a path for them. Xue Qi and Lin Xian walked into the first peak. After they entered, Lin Xian felt that the power here was much stronger than outside, as expected of the 1,000 Mountain Paradise. Moreover, it was the 1,000 Mountain Paradise's first peak. Cultivating here could greatly shorten the time needed to make a breakthrough. Lin Xian clenched his fists. He said that he felt that he could make a breakthrough here and reach the peak of the Saint Venerable Realm. There weren't many people inside, and it seemed like this place wasn't a place that anyone could enter. When they went up, they encountered a group of people. It was a tall man who walked with a majestic gait and had a small mustache. He had a mustache, and there was an old man next to him. As they walked over, they saw Xueqi. The tall man stopped and smiled. Sister Xueqi, long time no see. Senior brother Yan Hua. Xueqi nodded. Lin Xian raised his brows. Yan Hua? Could this person be from the Yan family too? It seemed like he was related to Yan Jiu. Yan Hua looked at Lin Xian and said, "Is this person the husband that Sister Xueqi chose? It's not that I want to criticize you, but even if my brother Yan Jiu is dead, you shouldn't have chosen such an aunt. My choice has nothing to do with you," Xueqi said coldly. At this moment, the old man next to her smiled. "Princess Xueqi, our young master is doing this for your own good." Lin Xian frowned and looked at him. He said coldly, "You are just a servant. Do you have the right to speak here? You are courting death." The old man was so angry that his whole body trembled. Although he was just an old servant, his strength had reached the Saint King realm, and his status was extraordinary. Now, the old man dared to reprimand him. He couldn't help but want to kill him. What was more hateful was that this guy was also a battle servant. What right did he have to reprimand him? Yan Hua sneered. "Arrogant too arrogant. Don't think that just because you are with Xueqi, you have the right to be arrogant in front of me. I remember that you were just a battle servant before. You are just an ant. An ant? Humph! I defeated Xingchen from the Misty Peak. If you say that I am an ant, then what is Xingchen? Doesn't that mean that he is inferior to an ant? I will tell the world tomorrow that young master Yan Hua said that Xingchen is inferior to an ant. Damn it, I didn't say that." Yan Hua was instantly angry. If he said that, he would offend the Misty Peak. He didn't dare to do that. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You are as timid as a mouse. If you don't have the courage, then I think you are the ant." Chapter 4479. Xueqi, your husband has gone too far. Yan Hua looked at Xueqi. Xueqi shook her head. "I don't think he's wrong. It's you who challenged me first. All right, you've said so much. Don't you just want to attack me? I'll give you the chance." Lin Xian sneered coldly. "Both of you, come at me together. You don't have the qualifications to make me attack you. Go and teach him a lesson, but don't kill him. Otherwise, Xueqi will be sad." Yan Hua sneered coldly. The old servant walked over from behind him. "Lad, you want me to teach you a lesson?" He stretched out his hand, which was surrounded by laws, and it seemed like a cage that descended from the sky. He was a Saint King who had cultivated for a long time. Now that he attacked with his full power, his opponent wouldn't be able to resist him. He wouldn't kill him, but he would break his limbs and teach him a lesson. Xueqi furrowed her brows. This old man was too ruthless. However, she wasn't worried about Lin Xian. Lin Xian was someone who could defeat her, and his body had become even more powerful. Buzz. Lin Xian also punched out, and his fist turned into a sun. Boom. The old servant's hand shook, and it shattered. The old man's expression changed drastically. He was so powerful. He quickly retreated. However, it was already too late. Lin Xian attacked him with his palm, once again. Since his opponent wanted to kill him, Lin Xian didn't hold back either. His attack engulfed his opponent. Boom. The old man was instantly smashed into pieces and turned into a bloody mist. His shattered body tried to heal, but Lin Xian shot out several rays of sword energy and pierced through him. He was nailed to the mountain peak. Ah, the old servant roared crazily as he couldn't escape. An ant like you, who has lived for several thousand years, is still so weak. Yet you still dare to attack me. I can only say that you don't know the difference between life and death. Lin Xian sneered coldly. He looked at Yan Hua and said, "Your servant is trash. Why don't you attack him yourself?" Yan Hua's expression was gloomy. He had wanted to teach his opponent a lesson, but he hadn't expected that his opponent was so powerful. His old servant was a Saint King who had made a name for himself 100 years ago. Yet, he still wasn't a match for his opponent. Even if he wanted to make a move, he wasn't confident that he could succeed. So he said, "Very good, kid, I'll remember you. Let my men go. I want to leave." "You want to leave? Fine, cut off your arms and give me your storage ring. Then I'll spare your life." Lin Xian said. "What?" Yen, who was instantly enraged. "Say that again." The other party actually wanted to hurt him? He even wanted to snatch his storage ring. Did this guy want to die? Lin Xian snorted. "What? Don't you understand what I'm saying? Since that's the case, I'll do it myself." With a sweep of his hand, he charged forward. The other party had already made a move on him, so how could he hold back? If this was not the first peak, he would have slapped the other party to death long ago. Lin Xian's palm was as golden as a god, and as heavy as a mountain. The void could not withstand it at all. Yen Hu bellowed, shooting out a flaming battle diagram. Divine chains of laws surged out from it to block the attack. But in an instant, it shattered. His arms broke, and he let out a painful roar. Lin Xian had no intention of stopping. His palm was like the sky as it pressed down again. Yen Hu's body was bent, and with a plop he knelt on the ground. His entire face became ferocious. Damn it, he was going crazy. How could the other party be so powerful? "I'll hand over my storage ring, and you'll stop." He did not dare to fight again. Lin Xian retracted his palm and sneered. "You should have done this earlier." "Here." Yen Hu took out his storage ring and threw it to Lin Xian. Then he quickly fled with his old servant. He did not leave the first peak immediately. Instead, he went to look for the elders guarding the first peak. After finding them, he said, "I'm going to kill that guy." Those elders were also hesitant. One of them said, "Young Master Yen Hu, we also want to attack him, but Princess Xueqi is by his side, so we can't do it. If we do, we'll break the rules. If the other party catches us, we'll probably be punished." Another elder said, "Young Master Yen Hu, your sixth uncle is currently cultivating in seclusion in the first peak. If he comes out of seclusion, he'll definitely be able to injure that kid." "Really? Sixth uncle is going to break through?" Yen Hu's eyes lit up. He said, "Okay, I'll wait for sixth uncle to break through. Keep an eye on that kid. Don't let him leave." The elder smiled and said, "Don't worry, although we can't fight, we can't do anything. Although we can't do anything, we can still find a reason to temporarily seal the first peak." The elders quickly moved and formed a formation to seal the first peak. On the other side, Lin Xian and Xueqi came to a cave abode and began to cultivate. The spiritual energy here was too abundant, and there were mountains of natural treasures around. In addition, Lin Xian had just obtained 2 storage rings from Yen Hu. It could be said that the resources here were very abundant. He took out all the natural treasures and then used the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The Great Dragon Sword Soul quickly devoured them. The spiritual energy and power in the sky turned into a vortex and quickly surged into Lin Xian's body. Xueqi, who was next to him, was also stunned. The absorption of this power was too strong. She didn't dare to. Even if Lin Xian had a divine body, he wouldn't dare to do it. She was really worried about Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian didn't care. The awakening of the Great Dragon Sword Soul would require more power every time it leveled up. Now that he had finally found a spirit vein like the first peak, how could he miss it? So much so that the first peak shook violently. What happened? The expressions of the elders of the first peak also changed. Even the people who were cultivating in the other cave abodes were also very confused. They thought that the sky was falling and the earth was splitting. At this moment, the sky darkened and countless lightning bolts gathered. Was he going to break through? They looked into the distance. Yen Hu was also happy. That direction was where his sixth uncle was. In other words, his sixth uncle was going to break through. That was great. There was a middle-aged man in the cave in that direction. However, he suddenly opened his eyes. What was going on? The power around him was quickly disappearing. Who was using him? She looked into the distance. At the same time, a formation appeared in Shui-Chi's cave abode and concealed all information. At this moment, the lightning bolts fell. Lin Xian let out a long roar and fought against them. Boom, 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 boom. The people of the first peak were very quiet. They were all waiting silently. Because of the formation, they didn't know who was breaking through. Yan Hua and the others believed that his sixth uncle was breaking through. The elders were also surprised. Was he going to break through to the middle stage of the Great Sage King realm? These people were too shocked. Looking at the appearance of the lightning tribulation, it was very terrifying. After waiting for a long time, the lightning bolts that filled the sky disappeared. That was great. He succeeded. Yan Hua was happy. His sixth uncle was going to become a middle stage Great Sage King. His strength would definitely undergo an earth-shattering change. A middle stage Great Sage King could kill an early stage Great Sage King with one punch. He couldn't wait to fly over and wait outside. Chapter 4480. After a short while, the cave opened and a middle-aged man walked out. Congratulations, sixth uncle, for successfully breaking through and reaching the middle stage of the Holy King realm. Yan Hua quickly bowed. However, the middle-aged man frowned and said, "Who told you that I broke through?" What? Yan Hua was stunned. He looked carefully and found that his sixth uncle was still at the middle stage of the Holy King realm, although his aura was much stronger than before. His cultivation was not at the middle stage of the Holy King realm. Then, who was breaking through? He had seen the lightning strike with his own eyes. The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "I don't know. It should be another elder." The middle-aged man was Yan Hua. Confusion appeared in his eyes. Previously, when he was cultivating, he did feel a strange change. Then he asked, "Why did you come to find me?" "Sixth uncle, there is a brat who is too hateful. Help me teach him a lesson." He then recounted the events that had transpired with some embellishment. After Yan Hua heard this, he was furious. "Are you trying to challenge us by acting so recklessly? I want to see what makes him so arrogant." He was already in a bad mood when his cultivation power was taken away by someone else. Now that such a thing had happened, he naturally had to take action. In her opinion, no matter how strong a holy venerate was, could he be stronger than her? On the other side, the array in Shui-Chi's cave slowly disappeared. Shui-Chi was waiting anxiously. Finally, she saw a figure walk out. Great, he had broken through. She felt that Lin Xian's cultivation had reached the peak of the holy venerate realm. He would be a half-step holy king if he took another step forward. Lin Xian was also very satisfied. He felt that his power had become stronger than before. Now, if he met Xingqian again, he could probably destroy his opponent's astral soul with a slap. "Let's go back," Lin Xian said. This time, the great dragon sword soul had absorbed too much power, causing the power of the first mountain to weaken greatly. It would not be effective if he continued to stay here. Moreover, the changes in the first mountain would definitely be noticed by others. Lin Xian did not want his secret to be discovered, so he prepared to leave. Shui-Chi, who was beside him, nodded. The two of them left the cave and walked outside. "Brat, you finally came out. I thought that you would hide in there forever." At that instant, an icy voice could be heard. Lin Xian frowned and looked to the side. There were three people, Yan Hua and the old man. There was also a middle-aged man. This middle-aged man's aura was even stronger. "Oh, what's wrong? Are you here to give me a storage ring? This time, it won't be as simple as breaking your arms. Damn it. Do you want to die?" Yan Hua recalled how the other party had broken his arms, forced him to kneel, and even gave away his storage ring. He was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. He said, "Sixth uncle, it's this detestable brat. You must help me teach him a lesson." Lin Xian smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'll test out my current strength." Lin Xian walked out and looked at the middle-aged man. He said, "You want to attack me? Hey, you can't afford it. Ooh, I heard that a very arrogant battle servant had come to the 1,000-mountain cave. Today, I want to see what makes you so arrogant." Yan Hua was also angry. He took a step forward, and an extremely cold light appeared in his hand. It was as if there were billions of rays of light. His palm transformed into a demonic dragon that swept forward like a mountain range. The demonic dragon bared its fangs and claws and charged toward Lin Xian. It had to be said that Yan Hua's strength was much stronger than Yan Hua and the other two. He was also a terrifying existence in the early stage of the Saint King realm. His strength had increased greatly after this closed-door cultivation. Therefore, he was very confident that he could kill Lin Xian with one blow. Buzz! A ray of sword chi appeared in Lin Xian's hand. The sun's sword slashed forward. It collided with the opponent's palm. Suddenly, the surrounding mountains shook violently. Countless formations flickered in and out of existence. After the blow, Lin Xian was as steady as Mount Tai. On the opposite side, the middle-aged man's face was completely ugly. He felt that his entire arm was numb. He could block sixth uncle's blow. Yan Hua's eyes almost popped out. He knew how terrifying his sixth uncle was. No one in the younger generation could compete with him. But this kid blocked all of his attacks. Sixth uncle, this kid has some kind of super strong body refining technique. Don't fight him in close combat. Yan Hua reminded him. Sixth uncle nodded after hearing this. So that's why you're so arrogant. But you're too naive. No matter how strong you are, you can't compete with a real Saint King. Watch me kill you with my magical power. He stretched out his hand again and kept forming seals. Countless laws condensed and formed a huge seal. Giant rock palm. As soon as it was slapped out, the surroundings were petrified. This guy was a rock element expert. The whole sky seemed to have turned into a cage and pressed down. "Open for me!" Lin Xian roared and took a step forward. The invincible sword was slashed out by him. His hands opened and closed, and the divine fire turned into a sword shadow with the power to split heaven and earth. Boom, boom, boom. The rock streaked across the sky, and cracks appeared. Then it was torn apart. The invincible sword fell. Sixth uncle's pupils constricted, and he threw out two shields to block. He blocked the invincible sword. However, at this moment, the invincible sword attacked again. This was also a terrifying magical power that was not weaker than the Man-Ruler's seal. With a single blow, the opponent was sent flying. The armor on Sixth Uncle's body was shattered, and a crack appeared, almost splitting him in half. He couldn't believe it. Yan Hua was so scared that he almost knelt on the ground. His sixth uncle was defeated too. Thinking of this, he kept retreating, trying to escape. Lin Xian sneered. He stomped his foot and activated the 10 ultimate sword formation, sealing the surroundings. "You want to escape now?" I said. "Take my wrath." "Damn it, how dare you hurt me?" At this moment, Sixth Uncle rushed out. His whole body turned into rock, and there were even flames burning on his body. He formed a flaming rock giant that was incomparably powerful, soaring flaming rock fist. This was his famous consummate skill, and no one of the same level could block it. Buzz. Lin Xian waved his arm and threw out the mountain-embracing seal. A primordial demon mountain fell from the sky, as if it was going to crush the heavens. The terrifying fist was blocked, and then cracks appeared on his arm. Sixth Uncle's body shook violently, and then it kept shattering. He finally couldn't resist under the primordial demon mountain. Lin Xian threw out the mountain embracing seal again, and the two primordial demon mountains completely suppressed his opponent. His strength is not bad, but that's all, Lin Xian said indifferently. He turned his gaze and looked at Yanhua. Yanhua almost knelt down. He said in horror, "What are you trying to do? Kid, I'm warning you, don't attack me. Otherwise, our patriarch won't spare you." Chapter 4481. Now that you know how to be afraid, you still dare to threaten me? I already said that if you attack me again, I won't just cripple your arms. I will cripple you. What? Yen Ho was alarmed, and he quickly went to ask the elders for help. Xueqi wanted to cripple him, which was even more terrifying than killing him. The old servant wanted to retreat and ask for help. Xueqi waved her hand, and frost filled the sky and sealed the old servant in ice. The old servant's eyes widened. He was also a Saint King expert, but he couldn't even withstand a single blow from Xueqi. The 10 Ju swords appeared in Lin Xian's hand, and they pierced through the old man's body. The great dragon sword soul's power roared, and it shattered the old man's laws and power. Yanhua roared, and despair appeared on his face. He felt that his power had instantly disappeared. No, he had gone crazy. Lin Xian waved his hand and unleashed a seal to seal the other party. Then he threw him into the great sage tower. In the next instant, he crippled Yanhua and sealed him again. As for the old servant, he directly killed him and turned him into a bloody mist. Then he burned him with the 9 suns' divine flame. "Husband, what do you plan to do with these 2 people?" Xueqi asked. Lin Xian said that he would talk about it after they returned. He waved his hand and removed the formation, and the 2 of them walked outside. They went to the foot of the mountain. The 3 elders guarding the mountain were stunned. Why did this guy come out? Did Yanhua not go to cause trouble for this guy? Although they were confused, they had to remove the seal and let the 2 of them leave safely. After they returned, they went to Xueqi's residence. Xueqi said that if they killed them, the Holy Heaven's old ancestor would know about it, and it would be very troublesome. Lin Xian nodded. He said that he didn't plan to kill them, and that he would go out in 2 days and find an uninhabited mountain range to suppress them for several thousand years. No one would be able to find them. "Do you want to go out?" Xueqi asked. Lin Xian nodded and took out a map from his storage ring. The map was emitting a faint radiance at this moment. He had snatched this map from the Purple Spirit Wonderland's people. The fragment of the map had been sitting quietly in his storage ring. In the past few days, he had begun to shine. Lin Xian guessed that something must have happened to the place marked on the map. Therefore, he was prepared to investigate. But before that, Lin Xian still had some things to do. "Xueqi, tell me more about the Stellar Saints," he said. Xueqi nodded. She said that Star Saint King was a member of the Star Clan. However, his status in the clan wasn't high, so he could only stay in the heavenly abode. However, in the paradise, his status was not low. He was an elder, and his cultivation had reached the middle stage of Holy Venerate. It was said that he would soon reach the late stage. "Are you going to attack him?" She also knew that it was the sacred star monarch who had captured Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "That's right, this guy dared to injure my senior brother, and even dared to steal the peerless sword. I'll deal with him myself sooner or later." However, now was not the time. Indeed, although Lin Xian had reached the peak of Holy Venerate, the sacred star monarch was not simple. He was an extremely terrifying existence in the middle stage of Holy King Realm, and he was even about to break through. Therefore, Lin Xian felt that it was best to break through and become a half-step Holy King before dealing with this guy. "You said that he had 3 disciples?" Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. "Then I'll let him know what it feels like to have his disciples captured." "I know." Xueqi ordered someone to call the 3 disciples over. Half a day later, the 3 people arrived. They stood in front of the main hall with puzzled expressions. They didn't know why Princess Xueqi was looking for them. After waiting for half a day, Xueqi didn't appear. However, a young man walked in. They frowned. They naturally knew this guy. It was Lin Xian. The second disciple asked, "Boy, where is Princess Xueqi? Why is she looking for us?" "Hurry up and tell Princess Xueqi that we are here," the third disciple said proudly. Lin Xian glanced at the three people before he sat down boldly. "You don't need to wait. Princess Xueqi won't see you. It's me who is looking for you." "You?" The three disciples were taken aback. The eldest disciple asked, "Why are you looking for us?" "What is it?" Lin Xian sneered. "You came to Princess Xueqi's residence without permission. How dare you? Kneel down and accept your death." The three people's expressions changed. The eldest disciple said, "Hateful. We were invited here." "Who can prove that?" Lin Xian stood up, and a cold, killing intent emanated from his body. The second disciple said, "Boy, you want to take revenge, right? Our teacher captured you and made you a battle servant. Do you bear a grudge against him?" Lin Xian nodded. "That's right. Doesn't the Star Holy King like to go around suppressing people? I will let him know what it feels like to have his disciples suppressed. You are courting death. Attack." The three people shouted angrily. They naturally knew that they had to leave this place quickly. The three people's speed was very fast. They didn't escape, but charged directly at Lin Xian. One of them struck out with his palms, which were like two mountains. Another person struck out a black hole, which enveloped Lin Xian. The third person formed a seal with his palms, and a terrible storm tore the void into pieces. The eldest disciple, who was the strongest among the three, was already at the beginner stage of the Holy King realm. The other two were half-step Holy Kings. The three of them attacked together, and the momentum was shocking. The place where Lin Xian was completely shattered. The three people looked at this scene and laughed proudly. "What peerless genius. I think he's just SOSO. Let's go." The three of them turned around and were about to leave. However, at this time, they realized that a figure had appeared in front of them, blocking their way. How is this possible? The three people's expressions changed drastically. "Isn't that the boy?" They suddenly turned around and looked at the shattered void. Cold sweat flowed down their backs. That terrifying attack just now didn't hurt him at all. How did he dodge it? Mountain-embracing seal. Lin Xian waved his hand, and an ancient mountain directly fell from the sky, pressing down on the three people. "Damn it!" The three people roared. Eldest senior brother struck out with his palms, which were vast and could sweep away everything. However, in front of the ancient mountain, his arms were instantly broken. The other two half-step Holy Kings couldn't withstand it, and their bodies instantly turned into a bloody mist. The three people were completely suppressed. "Damn boy. Let us go. Believe it or not, when my master comes, he'll tear you into pieces." The three people roared. Lin Xian looked at the three people and sneered. "Don't worry, your master will be here soon." He stood up and said in a clear voice, "Someone go and tell Star Saint King to come and get his disciple." Soon, a figure rose into the air. Not long after, a roar was heard. This was too much. Star Saint King, carrying the supreme power of the stars, descended from the sky. He strode over. When he saw that his three disciples were suppressed and seriously injured, his eyes instantly turned red with anger. Chapter 4482. Kid, let go of my disciples. Don't you just want to take revenge? Fight me if you have the ability. Don't worry, it will be your turn soon. Lin Xian looked at the other party, his eyes filled with killing intent. "I can't let go of your three disciples. They trespassed into Princess Xueqi's residence, so I've decided to cripple them." "How dare you?" Sacred King Shang-Chen roared. Lin Xian waved his hand. Why wouldn't I dare? The mountain-embracing seal exploded, completely crippling the three of them. The three of them fell to the ground and became crippled. Ah, the three of them roared, their eyes filled with despair. Master, kill him! Avenge us! Yes, we must tear him into pieces. Sacred King Shang-Chen's eyes instantly turned red. It wasn't easy for him to nurture these three disciples, especially his eldest disciple, who was already a sacred king. His future achievements were limitless, but now they were crippled just like that. You're courting death. Countless stars appeared on Sacred King Shang-Chen's body, and a terrifying killing intent swept out. Lin Xian took out the Xiantian token. He said, "Can you bear the anger of the Xiantian pavilion if you attack me?" Sacred King Shang-Chen's face became even uglier, but he didn't act rashly. He was so angry. If he didn't have the Xiantian Ridge, he would definitely be able to kill Lin Xian with a slap. He snorted, gritted his teeth, and said, "Do you think the Xiantian token can protect you forever? This time, you challenge me first. Even if I attack you, the Xiantian pavilion won't say anything." "Is that so? You can try." Lin Xian didn't care at all. At this time, Xueqi also walked out from the side. She said coldly, "Elder Xingchen, you've gone too far. Your three disciples came here without my permission. They deserve to be crippled. As for you, you didn't discipline your disciples well. How should you be punished?" Sacred King Shang-Chen's face became even uglier when he saw Xueqi walk out. He knew that if he didn't pay a price today, he wouldn't be able to walk out of here alive. Therefore, he said, "It's my fault for not teaching you well, and I'm willing to accept the punishment." Xueqi nodded and said, "Men, take the lightning code and execute the lightning punishment." Very quickly, someone respectfully took out a grimoire. It was surrounded by lightning. Clearly, it was a terrifying treasure. After Xueqi took it, she let Lei Dian float in the air and said, "Xingchen Elder, accept the lightning punishment." The sacred king of stars knelt on the ground, his back facing the thunder tome. As for Xueqi, she looked at Lin Xian and said, "There are 360 strikes in total. You can execute them personally." Lin Xian nodded. He used the law of thunder. The thunder tome shone brightly, and lightning flew out. Every strike was extremely terrifying. Even a Saint King could not withstand it, and could only allow the lightning to strike. Moreover, Lin Xian used the power of the great dragon sword soul in this lightning. Therefore, after the 360 bolts of lightning struck, Sacred King Shang-Chen's body was bleeding profusely, and his wounds were unable to heal. He gritted his teeth and stood up, looking extremely ferocious. "Brat, don't think that you can continue to be arrogant just because you have the support of Princess Xueqi and the profound Heaven Pavilion. Do you see this sword? We have been searching for this person for a long time. Now that I've found news of him, I'll capture him and make him my battle servant. I really want to see your expression when the time comes." The sword he took out was the unparalleled sword. When Lin Xian heard this, he was instantly enraged. His eyes were filled with a terrifying, murderous intent. The other party was still looking for the unparalleled Saint King. How despicable! He took a deep breath and said coldly, In 1 year, I will challenge you to a duel of life and death." 1 year, I will wait. Sacred King Shang-Chen roared. He finally had a chance to kill his opponent. No matter how strong his opponent was, how much could his strength increase in a year? His cultivation level was much higher than his opponent's. Not to mention 1 year, he could still kill his opponent in 10 years. Xueqi frowned as she looked at Sacred King Shang-Chen's back. "Isn't 1 year a little too short?" Lin Xian shook his head. "They have already started looking for my senior brother. I don't have much time." Xueqi said, "Don't worry, I will also help you find your senior brother. I will also keep an eye on Sacred King Shang-Chen. And I will leave this to you. Oh, be careful. He is related to the Star Tribe. I think those people from Ethereal Peak will not let this matter rest. 10 days later, I will leave. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. In the following days, he went into seclusion to adjust his condition to the peak. Then he left. When he left, Xueqi found Sacred King Xingchen again. She did this to prevent Sacred King Xingchen from secretly following and assassinating Lin Xian. As long as Xueqi kept Sacred King Xingchen busy, Lin Xian would not be in danger. Sacred King Xingchen could not leave, but he sneered in his heart. Not only had Sacred King Xingchen offended him, but he had also offended the Star Tribe. Did Sacred King Xingchen think he could be safe? He had already sent the news to Ethereal Peak. Ethereal Peak would definitely send experts to kill Sacred King Xingchen. Ethereal Peak. At this moment, Ethereal Peak was in an uproar. This was because a new quest had been issued. As a disciple of Ethereal Peak, they could accept some missions and carry them out. At this moment, there was a mission. This mission was to kill a person. Countless people were watching because this mission was issued by the Star Tribe. The mission was too simple. It only required them to kill a late-stage Saint Venerable. What a joke. What kind of existence is Ethereal Peak? Is such an ant worthy of us taking action? Some geniuses were disdainful. However, there were also people who said, "You don't know. This guy is the guy who defeated Xingchen in Thousand Mountain Cave." They thought that the Star Tribe issued this mission because of Xingchen. So, it was this guy. Some people nodded and came to a realization. In this way, it could be explained. Although this guy was a late-stage Saint Venerable, his strength was equivalent to a Saint King. To be able to defeat Xingchen, he had some strength. However, I am not interested. Most people shook their heads. There were also some people who had the idea, but did not dare to go. After all, Xingchen's strength in Ethereal Peak was not bad. Since he was defeated, what was the point of others who were weaker than Xingchen going? In the end, 3 people accepted the mission. These 3 were extremely terrifying experts. Their strength was above Xingchen's. When Xingchen saw the 3 people accepting the mission, he nodded his head. However, he still frowned. Is this okay? I don't want this guy to escape again. An elder at the side laughed. He is just a young man. No matter how strong he is just an ant in front of Ethereal Peak. The reason for this mission is to train the people of the Ethereal Peak. Moreover, we will also send a middle-stage Saint King to guard him. Even if the first 3 fail, he won't be able to escape. At this moment, a ring on the elder's hand shone. The last array formation appeared, and a message came from it. There is news from Thousand Mountain Cave. That guy has left the cave. We have also started to move. The 3 experts who accepted the mission got the order and started to move. Chapter 4483. At the same time, a mid-stage holy king from the Star Tribe also tore open the void and prepared to leave. On the other side, Lin Xian stealthily left the Thousand Mountain Cave and flew at a high speed. He sat on the black earth and turned into a stream of light, shuttling through the void. After walking for about 2 days, he frowned. He felt a pair of eyes staring at him. Someone was coming. He knew that Holy King Xingchen would definitely not let it go. He wondered if it was someone from the Heavenly Cave or Misty Peak. He hoped that person's strength would not disappoint him. Looking at the mountains below, his figure flashed and he landed in the mountain range. After entering, Lin Xian killed a demon beast and began to make delicious food. Little White also jumped out and picked some spirit fruits in the surroundings, eating happily. The 2 of them did not seem to know that danger was coming. At this moment, the surrounding forest became oppressive. Countless gusts of wind swept through, and the entire sky was about to press down. A figure appeared on top of a large tree and looked down. Ants were ants. They did not even know that they were about to die. A cold voice came from above. Is he here? Lin Xian glanced at the other party and said indifferently, "Tell me your name. I don't kill nameless people." "I am Holy King Barbarian Spirit." A tall figure descended, and the ground cracked open, spreading in all directions. This person's physique was very terrifying. It emitted a metallic luster as if it was made of precious metal. There were endless lines on it. His voice was like thunder, causing the void to tremble. When Lin Xian was sizing up the other party, Holy King Barbarian Spirit was also sizing up Lin Xian. As expected, he was a holy king. "I really don't understand. How did you defeat Xingqian? Kneel down now, and I'll give you a quick death." "You don't have the right to say such words in front of me." Lin Xian shook his head and said, "Do you need me to give you a handicap of one hand? Kid, you're more arrogant than I thought. However, the consequences of angering me will be very miserable." Buzz. Before he finished speaking, Barbarian Spirit turned into a bolt of lightning and charged over. It seemed that he wanted to fight Lin Xian in close combat. As the palm fell, it was surrounded by divine chains of laws. The void was torn apart in an instant. Hundreds of black holes were formed trying to devour Lin Xian. Lin Xian was not afraid at all. He punched out and transformed into a golden crow. Boom! A loud sound rang out, shaking heaven and earth. Sacred King Barbarian Spirit was sent flying. His arm was numb, and his body felt like it was about to split open. His eyes were wide open. What a strong physique! Was he really just a saint? He couldn't believe it. Lin Xian strode over with the man-ruler seal in his hand. "I am indeed a saint venerable. You can't defeat me because you are too weak. If I were a saint king, I could kill you with a single glance. You're courting death. I was just careless just now." Sacred King Barbaric Spirit roared at the sky as a terrifying aura erupted from his body. His physique had also become stronger, and his figure had also become taller than before. "I am a berserker spirit, and the power of my bloodline is not something you can imagine. Go to hell, brat." He turned into an even more terrifying streak of radiance, carrying unparalleled power as he slaughtered his way over. So, what if he was a berserker spirit? Lin Xian also charged over. The two of them fought in close combat, and the man-ruler seals swept out in all directions. After exchanging 3 blows, Sacred King Barbaric Spirit was sent flying and spat out blood. Cracks appeared on his body, and he kept swaying. Damn it, how is this possible? His eyes instantly turned red. No one had ever dared to compete with him in terms of physique. A Saint Venerable had injured him. He couldn't believe it. "What kind of physique did you cultivate?" "Fine, I'll let you know before you die. I cultivate the divine Nine-Yang body. The divine Nine-Yang body. It was one of the legendary super physiques in the galaxy." Sacred King Barbaric Spirit's eyes instantly turned red. This was the legendary physique. He didn't expect this brat to have it. "You're just a battle servant. How can you have such a peerless divine physique? Give me the cultivation method of the divine Nine-Yang body, and I can spare your life." He was really envious. He was about to go crazy. Although he was a berserker spirit and had a strong physique, however, it was still incomparable to this legendary physique. If he could obtain the cultivation method of the divine Nine-Yang body, who would be his match in close combat in the future? "With just you want to have ideas about the Nine-Yang divine body?" Lin Xian smiled. "The reason why I told you about my physique is because I know that you will definitely die." If he wasn't confident, Lin Xian wouldn't have revealed his secret. Divine fire continued to spread on his body, and he turned into a golden god of war. Crack! It seemed that he had to use some real methods. Sacred King Barbaric Spirit also activated his bloodline and took out a mace from his storage ring. It was as big as a mountain. Boom! This attack was like a mountain. The sky and earth directly collapsed. No one could escape. However, at this moment, Lin Xian also struck out with the mountain-embracing seal. Descending from the sky, An immemorial demonic mountain directly pressed down. The mace instantly bent, and with a cracking sound, it shattered. Sacred King, barbaric spirit, was forced back and vomited blood. Damn it, his physique was so strong, and he also knew a peerless divine ability. He knew that he was no match for him and wanted to retreat. Lin Xian stomped his foot and charged forward. You still want to leave now? He struck out with the man-ruler seal again, like a god descending. Get lost! As Sacred King barbaric spirit retreated, he stretched out his hand and threw the surrounding mountains over. Dozens of mountains fell from the sky, causing the entire world to turn dark. Invincible sword, a sword light, flashed and split the world in half. Huge rocks fell from the sky. A crack appeared between Sacred King barbaric spirit's brows, and then his body was split in half. He let out a painful roar. Damn it! How could his opponent's sword chi be so terrifying? Barbaric spirit's secret technique. His body quickly healed, and then he roared. Endless blood-red runes appeared on his body and burned quickly. Then, a soul phantom appeared. This was not a soul attack, but an ancestor phantom formed by his bloodline. It was a battle spirit between heaven and earth, with a giant axe in hand. It charged forward. Let's see how you fight. Sacred King barbaric spirit sneered. With his family's secret technique, he could fight against someone more terrifying than him. The attack fell with an incomparably huge pressure. This attack seemed to be able to split Lin Xian in half. Lin Xian struck out with the undying sword. At the same time, the mountain-embracing seal and the man-ruler seal attacked together. With a bang, the battle spirit was torn into pieces. Sacred King, barbaric spirit's body, was shattered again. He became terrified. Don't kill me, I'm just here to accept the mission. He was finally afraid. He had used his strongest secret technique, but he still couldn't kill his opponent. This time, other than me, there are two people who accepted the mission. They are stronger than me. Let me go, and I'll tell you who they are. I don't need to know who they are. Anyone who dares to kill me will go to hell. Lin Xian's voice was cold as he walked over. A sword shadow appeared in his hand, and he slashed forward, destroying Sacred King barbaric spirit's body and soul. After taking Sacred King barbaric spirit's storage ring, Lin Xian soared into the sky and left this place. Half a day later, a figure descended from the sky and floated in midair. He was wearing a white robe that was spotless. 3 flying swords circled around him, making him look like a sword immortal. Chapter 4484. The white-robed figure frowned when he saw that the Holy King Manling had fallen. Is that Holy Venerate really that powerful? His expression turned grave. He realized that the Holy King Manling's body had been completely shattered. Obviously, it was the result of a close combat battle. That kid's physique is even stronger than the Holy King Manling's. However, the white-robed figure did not retreat. Instead, he said, Interesting. Manling, I'll avenge you. He turned into a beam of sword light and disappeared into the void. At night, the stars shone brightly, and the moon hung high in the sky, making the ground extremely bright. Lin Xian sat cross-legged in the forest, absorbing the power of heaven and earth to cultivate. 3 days have passed. Haven't the people of Ethereal Peak found me yet? Thinking of this, he shook his head slightly and took out the map. At this moment, the light on the map shone even brighter. Lin Xian held the map and carefully sensed it. He felt that there was something summoning him in a certain direction. Suddenly, his eyes flashed, and he put away the map. In the next moment, he retreated backward. The array around him was broken, and a beam of light shot towards where he was originally at like lightning. It slashed that place into nothingness. Lin Xian had already come to the side. He focused his gaze and realized that the lightning was a flying sword. It was the size of a palm and emitted a cold light. Sword-wielding technique. He frowned slightly. That's right. Quite a lot. A figure descended from the sky and said coldly. It was a white-robed figure. 2 flying swords circled around him. At the same time, the flying sword from before also flew back to his side. The 3 flying swords kept circling around him. He was like a sword god, descending forcefully. You must be Lin Xian. I didn't expect you to be able to kill the holy King Manling, but unfortunately you met me. Remember, my name is the Flying Sword Holy King. Don't forget my name when you report to the King of Hell. With a wave of his hand, the 3 flying swords instantly flew over, piercing through everything with an unparalleled aura. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Xian struck 3 consecutive palms on the flying swords. The flying swords trembled and were deflected, piercing through the mountains beside him. Hundreds of mountains collapsed instantly. On the other hand, Lin Xian's body glowed with radiance. Similarly, the 10 ultimate swords appeared in his hands. Since you're a swordsman, I'll use my sword skills to finish you off. Endless sword chi rushed out of Lin Xian's body and swept out in all directions. It was like a green lotus blooming, enveloping the entire world. You want to compete with me in swordsmanship? He was overestimating himself. The flying sword Saint King smiled. His grade 3 flying sword was an extremely powerful sacred artifact. Furthermore, it had been by his side since he was young and had been nurtured. It could be said that it was even more nimble than his arms. Furthermore, those 3 flying swords were capable of slicing through the body of a sacred king barbarian spirit. In other words, no matter how strong the other party's physique was, he was confident that he could break through it. The 3 flying swords tore through the void like golden lightning and shot towards Lin Xian's 3 vital points. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he displayed the 10 extinction swords. The great dragon sword spirit in his body circulated. 9 suns opened the sky. The sword slashed down and collided with the 3 flying swords. With a cracking sound, the 3 flying swords were sent flying by the sword. The sword chi did not stop and continued to descend. How was this possible? The flying sword Saint King's pupils shrank. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. After the sword slashed, his soul was destroyed. Even in death, he could not believe that Lin Xian had killed him with a single sword slash. With a wave of his hand, another storage ring flew back to him. These ethereal peak experts had many treasures in their storage rings. Lin Xian was very satisfied. At the same time, he looked around and stared at the 3 flying swords. They could withstand the 9 suns, splitting the sky without shattering. It seemed that they were made of special materials. He reached out his hand and formed a golden cloud to grab the 3 flying swords. The flying swords resisted, and sword chi rushed into the sky. However, Lin Xian suppressed them and activated his heavenly secret divine eye to erase the soul imprint on them. Lin Xian threw them into the storage ring. He continued on his journey. This time, he flew for 2 days before stopping. Then he took out the Great Sage Pagoda, and 2 figures fell out from it. They were Yan Hua and Yan Kui. As soon as they appeared, they roared crazily. Damn brat. You crippled us. You're dead meat. Our patriarch will not let you off. Lin Xian slapped them twice. Their faces were smashed, and they did not dare to speak again. However, Lin Xian's gaze swept across the area. Soon he found a place. It was a small hill. It was very desolate, and there were not many plants on it. There were also some monsters around. They had already escaped. Lin Xian flew there and nodded. He was very satisfied. From now on, the 2 of you will stay here. What do you mean? Yan Hua and Yan Kui asked in horror. Lin Xian waved his hand and directly pierced the ground beside the small hill, forming a deep abyss. He said that he would suppress the 2 of them here, for 3,000 years. No, you can't do this. The two of them roared crazily. They were really afraid. If Lin Xian wanted to kill them, their patriarch would probably know and come to rescue them. However, if Lin Xian suppressed them here, no one would know about it. 3,000 years. Just thinking about it made them want to die. They might as well kill him with a single sword strike. The two of them struggled and wanted to beg for mercy, but they were slapped into the abyss by Lin Xian. Then the ground shattered. Lin Xian cast an array formation and directly sealed the place. He looked into the distance and pierced through the void. He thought that the third person should be arriving soon. His body rose into the air. Behind him, a figure with a murderous look flashed past quickly. He had locked onto him. The corners of that person's mouth curled up into a cold smile. However, in the next moment, he frowned. "Are you trying to escape?" He sped up and chased after him. After chasing for half a day, he finally arrived above a lake. The lake was like the sea, and it even carried an extremely cold aura. "Is this the place you chose to die?" The third figure descended. It was a burly man with a face full of beard. His expression was cold. He waved his hand and took out a large cauldron. The large cauldron was simple and unadorned. It was square in shape, and there were the faces of monsters on all four sides. It was actually the weapon of a Saint King. After the burly man arrived, he immediately attacked without saying anything. The four beasts' cauldron instantly enlarged and pressed down like a demonic mountain. The ground below kept breaking open, unable to withstand the aura of the Saint King at all. This weapon was even more terrifying than the flying sword from before. Looking at the descending four beasts' cauldron, Lin Xian let out a long roar and slammed his palm into the sky. With a clang, his palm hit the four beasts' cauldron, and the large cauldron kept shaking. The burly man's body trembled. What a terrifying power! He shouted coldly and formed a seal with his palms. The four beasts' cauldron was as stable as Mount Tai as it pressed down again. Countless rays of light appeared, piercing through the void like sharp swords. Lin Xian's body wobbled as he was hit by those powers. He was forced to retreat continuously. However, those attacks only left some marks on his body. They were unable to break his body at all. So powerful, the burly man was stunned. This is the weapon of a Saint King, but it can't break through his body? Chapter 4485. Buzz. Lin Xian kept waving the 9-yang divine palm. It was like thousands of suns breaking through the void. He fought with the Saint King's weapon with his bare hands. After a series of battles, the burly man's face was pale. Using the Saint King's weapon consumed a lot of energy, but he realized that his opponent's divine power was like the sea. He swallowed 2 pills and gritted his teeth. He was really angry. He held the cauldron with one hand and charged forward. 4 demonic beast phantoms appeared on the cauldron. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, wanting to devour Lin Xian's soul. Dragon-shaped sword chi rushed out of Lin Xian's body and slashed at the demonic beast phantoms. The 4 demonic beast phantoms let out mournful roars. He fled again and hid in the cauldron. Let me show you what a true saint artifact is. Lin Xian took out the Great Destruction Spear. A terrifying demonic aura surged in all directions. The burly man gasped. It was so terrifying. It felt much more terrifying than his 4-beast cauldron. This guy actually had a saint artifact too. He quickly retreated and distanced himself. However, the Great Destruction Spear attacked. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The burly man could only hide in the 4-beast cauldron and defend. The void outside was completely torn apart and turned into nothingness. Only a huge cauldron floated between heaven and earth. Lin Xian snorted coldly and flew up. He clenched his hand into a fist and threw out tens of thousands of punches. Each punch landed on the 4-beast cauldron. The four-beast cauldron kept shaking. If it wasn't a saint artifact, it would have been broken long ago. Even so, it was still beaten by Lin Xian until it was dim and dull and trembled nonstop. After an unknown number of punches, Lin Xian finally stopped. The surrounding void was still shattering. The four-beast cauldron in front of him was completely motionless. There was no movement inside. Lin Xian walked forward and looked inside. He found that the burly man hiding inside had long been torn apart and turned into a bloody mist. Although the four-beast cauldron was a Saint King's weapon, it blocked Lin Xian's punches and did not shatter. However, Lin Xian's strength was so great that some of them still managed to enter. In addition to the continuous attacks, the burly man inside finally couldn't take it anymore and was killed by the force. Lin Xian took the four-beast cauldron and entered the great sage tower. He wanted to refine this sage king weapon with all his might. Lin Xian first used the great dragon sword spirit to destroy the remnant soul. Logically speaking, it was impossible to refine a sage king's item. However, Lin Xian could easily destroy the soul imprint on it. Lin Xian used his heaven-level ability to plant his soul imprint. He felt a connection between himself and the four-beast cauldron. With a wave of his hand, the souls of the four beasts flew out and roared toward the sky. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. This was even more terrifying than the three flying swords. Although it wasn't as powerful as the Great Destruction Spear, it was still a Saint King's weapon. It could be considered one of his trump cards. Lin Xian checked the storage rings of a few people and found that there were indeed many spiritual herbs, natural treasures, and dragon marrow inside. After sorting these things out, Lin Xian continued to provide the great dragon sword spirit with power. At this moment, a map suddenly flew out of the storage ring and bloomed with a bright light. Countless runes appeared on it and intertwined to form a mark. Lin Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this place. He seemed to have received a summon. It seemed that the thing in the map should be coming out soon. He had to go quickly. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. His body swayed, and he soared into the sky and flew into the distance. The limitless sea. There were raging waves here that stretched as far as the eye could see. Legend had it that this was a place where supreme experts fought in ancient times, and the earth shattered, forming the sea. It was said that endless secrets were buried here. Over the countless years, many people had come to explore, but no one dared to go to the depths of the sea. This was because there were even more terrifying sea demons that were not weaker than human powerhouses. They were also extremely powerful existences among the 10,000 ancient races. At this moment, there were a few palaces floating over in the sky above the limitless sea. The divine chains that surrounded them surged with a terrifying aura. Figures entered and exited the palaces one after another. At this moment, there was a throne in one of the palaces. There was a woman sitting on it. She wore a long dress and a half mask on her face. Her eyes seemed to be able to control the world. There were a few tails behind her. She shook gently, and the void collapsed. At this moment, the mysterious woman with the half mask looked at the figures kneeling before her. She asked, "How is it?" "Elder Tianyin, don't worry. The formation is almost done. It won't be long before we can go down to investigate." After hearing this, the three women nodded their heads and revealed a satisfied smile. Someone from the side walked over and said, "Elder, the people from the Flying Rain Grotto and Purple Spirit Grotto are here too. Should we make a move in advance and get rid of them?" "No hurry. Let them set it up first. It won't be too late to make a move when the thing really appears," Elder Tianyin said calmly. So they were from the Green Hill Grotto. The other palaces should belong to the Purple Spirit Grotto and the Flying Feather Grotto. He wondered what they were doing in this sea. However, he could see that there were rays of formation light flickering at the bottom of the sea. These people were setting up a supreme formation. At the same time, a figure flew over from the distant sea. Lin Xian looked at the endless sea and frowned slightly. He could feel that the light of the map was getting stronger. Obviously, the destination was in this sea. When he arrived, he had already seen a tall stone tablet by the sea. On it, the words "Limitless Sea" were written. He had even heard of a legend about the limitless sea. However, as he flew into the sea, there were fewer and fewer people. In the end, there were no longer any martial artists who dared to stay here. However, after flying for a while, he frowned as he realized that there were more and more people in front of him. There was even the aura of a sage king. Not only that, he could also sense the power of the formation. There was more than one. There were people. Lin Xian was surprised. Could it be that they had the same purpose as him? Lin Xian used the heavenly secret god eyes, and a pair of eyes in the sky shrouded the area below. As expected, he discovered that there were many people, and these people's auras were very powerful. Lin Xian carefully hit the map and flew carefully. He bypassed most of the people and flew towards a sea. It should be here. Lin Xian prepared to enter the sea. With a flash, he entered. After entering, he found that there were also people under the sea. Lin Xian's physique was fearless as he opened a barrier. He moved quickly. The people below thought that their companions had come. After taking a look, they realized that they were not from the same sect. "Who are you?" "Oh no, it's an enemy. Attack quickly." Seeing that Lin Xian was not one of them, he roared and stabbed his spear. Chapter 4486. This was a half-step holy king. His attack was like a water dragon, and his long spear swept across. Lin Xian reached out his palm, grabbed the long spear, and blasted it in half. Another palm strike struck out, sending that person flying. That person fell into the depths of the sea, and his body split open and turned into a bloody mist. Damn it! The eyes of the surrounding people instantly turned red. Had one of their companions fallen? Kill him! In an instant, more than a dozen figures charged over from all directions. Many of them were water elemental saints. They used water elemental laws. Their monstrous power had an additional effect here. They turned into water cheelants and charged over. At the same time, 2 water enchantments appeared and suppressed Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. His body shook, and the 9 suns' divine fire swept out like a sun, sweeping in all directions. Was this kid a fool to use flames in the sea? The surrounding experts sneered, but in an instant, they felt their hair stand on end. Because this flame was too terrifying. All the seawater was instantly evaporated, and an empty space appeared. Not only that, the water cheelants and enchantments they cast were also instantly shattered. 6 figures turned into ashes, and the others were also repelled. Their bodies were charred black, and they were injured by the divine fire. Damn it! How could this guy's flame be so terrifying? This was the boundless sea. Any flame would be extinguished here, but the other party was an exception. Go and invite the Holy King. He was too powerful. These people exclaimed. Soon they formed seals and sent a message. From afar, a figure flew over. It was an old man with the aura of a holy king. At the same time, there were others in the distance. Who was it? How dare you attack the people of the Xiling Grotto heaven? After the old man descended, he said coldly. There was also a terrifying law of water surrounding his body. Kid, it's you. When the old man saw Lin Xian, he was instantly stunned. He had seen this person before because he had also gone to the martial arts competition and was present. He had seen Lin Xian before. So he was stunned. He didn't expect to be here. Elder, who is this kid? More people came from the surroundings and formed an inescapable net enveloping Lin Xian. The old man laughed. He was just lucky to have married Princess Xueqi. What? This brat married Princess Xueqi? The surrounding people were all stunned when they heard this. They had heard countless stories about Lin Xian, but this was the first time they had seen him in action. Some people's eyes instantly turned red. Someone sneered. So it was like this. He was just a battle servant. What was there to be arrogant about? That's right, brat. You can only stand behind a woman. Without Princess Xueqi's support, can you stand in front of us? Lin Xian glanced at these people, and golden light burst out from his eyes. It turned into a sharp sword and attacked. In an instant, the souls of the 5 figures were destroyed. You can't even withstand a single glance from me. Do you ants have the qualifications to clamor in front of me? A cold voice sounded. The people of the Violet Spirit Chamber turned pale, not daring to say anything. That elder was furious. How audacious! The other party had killed 5 of his disciples in front of him. This was a slap to his face. Brat, you are strong and can defeat young Master Xingqian, but I am not a young man like him. When I dominated the world, you weren't even born yet. So now, go to hell. A huge hand slapped over, and endless seawater formed a huge hand that enveloped Lin Xian. Boom! Lin Xian punched out, and the huge golden hand was like a flame, resisting the attack. With a cracking sound, the huge hand was burned and turned into white mist that spread out in all directions. The elder frowned and retracted his hand. His opponent was indeed able to resist him. Moreover, he was able to use flames at the bottom of the sea. How could a holy venerate have the battle prowess of a holy king? The elder was shocked. However, he soon calmed down. No matter how powerful his opponent was, they were at the bottom of the sea. He was a water-type holy venerate. He could control the entire sea. As he roared, the seawater in the 9 heavens and 10 earths surged and formed a terrifying sword of water with his palm. Kid, let me teach you what a holy king level divine ability is. The elder revealed a smile. Then he swung his sword. The monstrous sea seemed to have come alive. It let out waves of roars and charged over quickly. Lin Xian's figure flashed and rushed over. The 10 ultimate swords formation appeared on his body, and countless sword chi flew out. At the same time, he took out the 4 beasts cauldron and blasted it forward. The power of the 4 beasts cauldron directly caused a terrifying crack to appear in the seawater. The phantoms of 4 beasts appeared, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Boom! After a series of collisions, the sword of water cracked, and the elder vomited blood and flew backward. His expression became extremely ugly. Damn it, the weapon of a holy king. His body caved in. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. Was he still human? How could he injure their elder? Damn it, the elder roared. It seemed that he was asking for help. At the same time, 2 figures flew over from afar. One of them was a middle-aged woman holding a blue bottle. The other was a gray-haired man with an iron sword on his back. Both of them had the aura of a holy king. When the 2 holy kings arrived, they frowned. You're injured? Who could injure that old man? The elder pointed ahead and said, he wanted to capture that kid. He had endless secrets on him. The 2 holy kings turned their heads. Their eyes pierced through the sea like lightning. In the next moment, they were also stunned. It's him. That kid actually came here? Could it be that 1,000 Mountain Grotto Heaven had also discovered this secret? They did not know. That kid came here on his own. They were using pills while absorbing the power of water around them to recover. So far, only he had been discovered. No one else from 1,000 Mountain Grotto Heaven had been discovered. Was it just him? Was he here to die? The middle-aged woman sneered. The man with the iron sword did the same. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Since he was here, he might as well stay. The iron sword holy king swept his sword. This was the law of metal, and it was indestructible. Lin Xian waved his arm, and the 10 ultimate swords formation exploded. Dazzling sword rays flew out and turned into tens of thousands of sword rays. The iron sword was blocked, and it swayed nonstop. The iron sword Holy King's face changed. What a terrifying power. He seemed to have felt the law of metal as well. A young kid like him wanted to overturn the heavens? The Aquarius Holy King sneered at the side. She waved her blue bottle with both hands, and boundless water gushed out. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palms. The human sovereign seal swept out and knocked the bottle away. So powerful. The Aquarius Holy King's face changed drastically. One person could actually fight against the three of them. The elder said, "This kid was too strange. He definitely had the power of a holy Wang Li." It seemed that the three of them had to join forces. The three holy kings walked up. The others quickly retreated. This was a battle between holy kings. This kid was too scary. Was he really a young man? He must have some treasures. But don't worry. With the three holy kings attacking together, no matter how strong he was, he would die today. Everyone nodded. That's right. They were very confident in the three holy kings. Chapter 4487. Lin Xian frowned slightly. The three sage kings? He also felt the pressure. Moreover, the most important thing was to find where the thing on the map was. If he guessed correctly, the people from the other grotto heavens should also be looking for that thing. However, those people did not have a map and only knew a rough area of the sea, so they set up a formation and began to search. And he had a map, so he could find that place more accurately. Just as he was thinking, the three sage kings attacked together. Monstrous sword Qi, terrifying seawater, and the great Tao treasure bottle all attacked. The power was like the sea, causing everything to collapse. Lin Xian kept dodging. While using the 10 ultimate sword formation to block, he took out the 4-beast cauldron and attacked with monstrous beasts. At the same time, he carefully sensed, and the golden light in his eyes bloomed. After half an hour, a piercing light suddenly burst out from his eyes. He finally found it. A spatial aura appeared on his body. He used the void escape and instantly disappeared. Damn it, did that kid escape? The three sage kings roared crazily when their attacks missed. Chase, he's nearby. He can escape. Activate the formation and seal the entire seabed. The orders were given, and the formation was activated instantly. The three sage kings worked together to search. On the other side, a figure appeared in the depths of the sea. As soon as Lin Xian appeared, he continued to fly downwards. Below, there was a submarine canyon. Lin Xian entered the submarine canyon. After entering, he felt a huge pressure, as if it was going to tear him apart. He roared and used his divine body to block it. It was too terrifying. Perhaps it was because he had a divine body. Otherwise, if it were anyone else, they would not be able to come here at all. Ordinary sage kings could not. What exactly is inside? He looked around. The submarine canyon was not big, and there were many dragon veins below. There were a total of 6 dragon veins intertwined with each other. Where they gathered, they formed a mysterious Tao pattern that fluctuated and flickered with a terrifying light. It seemed that the thing should be inside this Tao pattern. Lin Xian used the heavenly secret divine eyes to look. His gaze penetrated everything. The next moment he saw a key inside. At that moment, the light on the map became even more resplendent. Could it be that what was marked on the map was a key? Lin Xian was shocked. He couldn't figure it out, but he still made a move first and obtained the key. He took out the great dragon sword soul. With one strike, he slashed at the Tao pattern, giving off a clanging sound. This attack did not manage to cut it open. This made Lin Xian even more shocked. This was the great dragon sword soul. Next, he went all out and fought for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. Only then did he open the Tao pattern. Sweat dripped from his face, and his aura dropped significantly. Continuously using the great dragon sword soul consumed a lot of energy, but fortunately he was able to open it. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the key. Then he quickly swallowed some natural treasures to recover his strength. However, at this moment, a voice came from outside the canyon. "Brat, do you think I won't be able to find you if you hide inside?" This voice was filled with a biting, cold-killing intent, causing Lin Xian's pupils to shrink. It was a sage king, and a mid-stage one at that. Lin Xian raised his head, and his gaze pierced through the void like lightning. He saw many figures standing outside the canyon, and most of them were from the purple spirit grotto heaven. Among them were the three sage kings. In front of them, there was a middle-aged man in armor, standing with his hands behind his back. If this person wasn't from the purple spirit grotto heaven, could he be from the ethereal peak? He knew that the ethereal peak had sent experts to kill him. Weren't there 3 experts? He had already killed them. Now that another one had appeared, it seemed that the ethereal peak was really trying to kill him. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he flew forward. He arrived above the canyon. In front, the man in armor said, "Brat, come back with me. How dare you kill the experts of the ethereal peak? Go back and accept your punishment." He was indeed from the ethereal peak. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He said, "It was the ethereal peak who tried to assassinate me first. I was only retaliating. They deserved to die. As for going back with you, let's see if you have the ability." "You?" The man in armor sneered. "You killed 3 Sage King geniuses, but they were all early-stage Sage Kings. And I'm a mid-stage Sage King. If I want to kill them, I can do it with a punch. So, it's just as easy for me to kill you. I advise you to go back with me obediently. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state." "Is that so?" Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and suddenly burst out with power. The 10 ultimate sword formation was activated, and he stabbed out. The terrifying sword light swept across the 9 heavens. Ignorant ant. Seeing that Lin Xian actually took the initiative to attack, the man in armor was furious. Since Lin Xian was courting death, he would fulfill his wish. He struck out with his palm, and endless light appeared between heaven and earth. The starlight in the sky formed a starry sky map, and it pressed down from the sky. Boom, boom. This was an attack from a mid-stage Sage King. The starry sky map fell, and the sword chi in the sky was broken. Then it shrouded Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils shrank, and he retreated, dodging instantly. The place where he was originally standing had completely turned into nothingness. Too strong. Although it was only a difference of 1 realm, the difference between a mid-stage Sage King and an early-stage Sage King was like night and day. The man in armor was right. A mid-stage Sage King could kill an early-stage Sage King with a slap. Your speed is not bad. You can actually dodge more attacks, but how many more attacks can you make? You're no match for me at all. The man in armor sneered, and he struck out with another palm. The starry sky map rotated, and it attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian took a deep breath, took out the 4-beast cauldron, and activated it with all his might. The power of the great dragon's sword soul surged out. The 4-beast spirits shone brightly, and the demonic beast phantoms roared into the sky, and a terrifying power exploded between heaven and earth. Feeling this aura, the man in armor frowned. "This is the 4-beast cauldron of our ethereal peak, and you've got it." What shocked him even more was that the power of the 4-beast cauldron was much more terrifying than he had imagined. You can control it so perfectly, so quickly. What kind of superpower is this? He did not know that there was not only the power of the 4-beast cauldron, but also the power of the great dragon sword soul. Lin Xian sneered. "You don't deserve to know. You're a mid-stage Sage Venerable, and you're shamelessly trying to kill me. Is this what Ethereal Peak does? How disappointing. If we're at the same level, I'll kill you like a dog. Useless brat. In front of absolute strength, no matter how strong your talent is. It's useless. Today is the day you die. You're a sage venerable, and you can unleash such power. You must have endless secrets. Once I capture you, all your secrets will be mine. After speaking, the starlight on his body became even more terrifying, forming a starry sky sword. It fell from the sky. Chapter 4488. The seawater continued to split open. The surrounding people from the grotto heaven were also pale. The 3 Saint Kings also kept retreating. He was too strong. The other party was a realm higher than them, and he was also using the Star Tribe's supernatural power. Even if the 3 of them went up, they probably wouldn't be able to stop him. In their opinion, Lin Xian was dead meat. It was a pity that Lin Xian's secret was not fated to be with them. Lin Xian used the 4-beast cauldron, and 4 demonic beasts charged over. At the same time, the great destruction spear appeared in his hand again. With one strike, monstrous demonic aura surged in all directions, blocking the starry sky map in the sky. I'll also give you a chance. Kneel down now, and I'll cripple you. I can spare your life. Lin Xian looked at the armored man and sneered. The armored man was furious when he heard that. Stupid ant, you have completely angered me. The other party took out 2 Saint King weapons and blocked his attack, making his lungs about to explode. He was a mid-stage Saint King. How much higher was his realm than the other party? At this moment, he was actually helpless against the other party. His killing intent was awe-inspiring. With a wave of his hand, a real starry sky map flew out from between his eyebrows, bobbing up and down. This was a Saint King weapon, and it was extremely terrifying. The moment it appeared, it enveloped the 4-beast cauldron and the great destruction spear. Do you think you're the only one who has a Saint King weapon? I'll freeze these 2 Saint King weapons. Let's see what you have to contend with me. Lin Xian felt that the 2 Saint King weapons were affected, as if they were stuck in a quagmire and couldn't withstand it at all. At the same time, he quickly retreated. This was because a starry sky sword came from the sky, and the power it carried was too terrifying. Star Spirit Finger. A ray of starlight appeared in the armored man's hand, circling around his finger. He pointed out with his finger. This was the ultimate technique of ethereal peak. It had been used by Stardust before, but the power now was countless times stronger than Stardust. No one was able to block his finger. Perhaps even a Saint King of the same realm would be defeated. So powerful! Lin Xian frowned. He used the Void Escape and quickly dodged. Was this a mid-stage Saint King? It was too strong. There seemed to be a gap in strength that could not be crossed. Did you see that? Brat, this is the difference between us. You can't even withstand a single blow from me. How are you going to fight me? The armored man smiled. Lin Xian's face was gloomy, but he soon smiled. Since that was the case, it seemed like he had to use his trump card. He was prepared to use the great dragon sword soul. Although he had used up a lot of energy earlier, he still had a lot of energy left. However, there were 6 dragon veins in the valley below. If he used the power of the dragon veins, he could definitely use the great dragon sword soul again. With a sway of his body, Lin Xian formed a formation that enveloped the area and directly absorbed the power of the 6 dragon veins. Then he unleashed his great dragon sword soul. A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared, releasing a terrifying radiance. The dragon's roar resounded throughout the sea, causing the endless sea to tremble. The sea demons in the distance all let out terrified roars. The people of the Violet Spirit Grotto narrowed their eyes. Even the armored man furrowed his brows. His eyes were fixed on the great dragon sword soul. What was that? That brat actually had such a treasure. The corners of his mouth curled up. Very well, I'll take it. You dare to have any ideas about this treasure? Lin Xian snorted coldly. With this sword, it'll be your time of death. As soon as he finished speaking, the 6 dragon veins below were completely absorbed. A surge of power poured into Lin Xian's body. With a roar, he waved his great dragon sword soul and slashed forward. Star's spirit finger, the armored man, once again used a terrifying technique. The sky was filled with starlight, shining with terrifying star laws. It flew forward. An earth-shaking sound rang out as the two collided, erupting with a destructive aura. The people of the grotto heavens were all blasted away. The 3 sage kings were also pale as they quickly retreated. Previously, they were still sighing that they didn't have the chance to kill Lin Xian personally. But now they were somewhat glad, because if the 3 of them were to attack, they probably wouldn't be able to block such a terrifying sword. Damn it. In the shattered sea in front, a roar sounded, and everyone hurriedly looked over. In front, the armored man's face was gloomy. There was a crack on his finger, and blood was flowing out. It can't be. The star spirit finger was broken? The 3 sage kings were shocked. That was a supreme technique, and the armored man didn't believe it either. He didn't hold back in that attack just now, and even a mid-stage sage king couldn't block it. But now it was blocked by a sage king. It was simply unimaginable for him to be injured. The armored man roared, and the starlight on his body became even more terrifying. Star chain. The endless starlight transformed into 9 chains that danced in the sky. Then they charged forward. These 9 chains were even more terrifying, and each of them was comparable to a sage king's weapon. At this moment, they swept across heaven and earth. Lin Xian also roared, letting out a dragon's roar. His eyes bloomed with a biting cold light. The great dragon sword soul kept waving, and every sword could split heaven and earth. Boom, boom. The two collided. Countless cracks were torn open. The sky and earth were filled with terrifying laws and destructive aura. The crowd could no longer see the 2 figures. They could only feel that the 2 forces were fighting. After an unknown period of time, the aura slowly disappeared. The sword chi and terrifying starlight that filled the sky disappeared. What was the situation? Everyone watched carefully. Lin Xian stood there with a pale face. His eyes bloomed with a cold light. Opposite him, the armor on the armored man's body was shattered, and countless cracks appeared, and blood flowed. Some places had been pierced, and his body was almost torn apart. How could this be? The people of Xylem Grotto Heaven were all stunned. The armored man's eyes were also filled with horror. He couldn't believe that he had been defeated. Moreover, he had been defeated by a sage king. One had to know that there was an insurmountable gap between a sage king and a sage king. It was possible for a sage king to escape from a sage king. However, it was basically impossible to defeat a sage king. Unless it was a supreme secret technique or someone from the Emperor clan, it would be possible. But this kid wasn't from the Emperor clan at all. And at the Sage King realm, the gap between the mid-stage and early stage was even greater than the gap between a Sage King and a Sage King. It could be said that it was even more difficult to fight someone of a higher level. But the other party had done it and crossed the 2 great gaps. What kind of secret was in the other party's body? Why? Was it unexpected? Lin Xian looked at the other party, and a disdainful smile appeared on his face. I said, "You can't do it. The reason why you are now a Sage King is only because you have cultivated for a few thousand years. But even so, you are not my match. Now, I will send you to hell." Lin Xian walked up again. The array beneath his feet flickered, and the great dragon sword spirit roared again. "Damn it, you want to kill me? What a joke. Charge." The armored man retreated while waving his hand. The people of Xylem Grotto Heaven felt their scalps go numb. The other party was a terrifying demon king. "I order you in the name of Ethereal Peak. Do you want to disobey the order? The armored man roared crazily. Chapter 4489. The people from Xylan Grotto Heaven felt their scalps go numb. The three sage kings also sighed. Let's join forces and attack. That kid was a sacred venerate. After using his super powerful trump card, he definitely didn't have much strength left. Perhaps he was already at the end of his rope and was pretending to hold on. Attack. The three sage kings roared and rushed forward, attacking nonstop. But even so, they were only attacking from afar. No one dared to get close. You're as timid as a mouse. You don't even have the courage to fight me in close combat? Are you worthy of being called Sage Kings? Lin Xian sneered and struck out with the Man-Ruler seal. At the same time, an invincible aura bloomed in his eyes. He used the Great Dragon Sword Soul and struck out with the Invincible Sword. The three Sage Kings were forced back. Their bodies split open, and they felt that their souls were about to be extinguished. Lin Xian waved his long sword and focused on attacking the armored man. The armored man didn't have time to retreat and was slashed open again. This time, his soul was shattered. After another 2 strikes, he was killed and his soul was destroyed. The star map directly broke through the sea and disappeared. Lin Xian took back the other party's storage ring and looked at the three Sage Kings. Run. The three Sage Kings felt their scalps go numb and quickly retreated. At the same time, roars sounded. Reinforcements came. He killed an expert of the Misty Peak. Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the void escape technique, instantly disappearing from the place. Above the sea, the faces of the people in the palace changed when they heard this. What? Someone killed an expert of the Misty Peak. Quickly take him down. The experts of Xylan Grotto Heaven all moved out. The people of Feiyu Grotto Heaven and Qingqiu Grotto Heaven also attacked. They entered the depths of the sea and found that the person had disappeared. Damn it. Quickly search. We must find this kid. The people of the 3 Grotto Heavens quickly scanned the surroundings to find Lin Xian. Lin Xian had already used his spatial ability to leave. He came to another sea. Then he entered the Black Earth and began to recover. Little White was in charge of guarding the situation while He Tu was in charge of flying. Lin Xian took out natural treasures and absorbed them. After flying for about a day, an extremely terrifying roar suddenly came from the sea in front of them. The void fluctuated, and the Black Earth was also affected. Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. Was someone coming? Little White jumped over and said, "Yeah, no, I can feel the aura of a powerful demonic beast." Lin Xian looked outside. In the next moment, he was astonished to find that there was indeed a sea in front of him. A terrifying sea demon, like a giant mountain in the sea, swept in all directions. There were many people fighting against it. However, at that moment, they were all retreating in a sorry state. Another terrifying ray of light shone. Following that, many people's bodies were split in half, turning into a bloody mist. Run. He's too strong. The surrounding people fled one after another. Trying to escape? How dare you disturb me? All of you can go to hell. Under the sea, countless terrifying rays of light appeared and directly pierced through these people. Qin Xianer quickly retreated. Looking at the huge figure in front of her, she frowned. She realized that the people who came before had all died, and she was the only one left. The terrifying sea demon in front of her was staring at her. Her face became extremely solemn. It was a terrifying sea shark that had reached the Sage Ruler realm. What's more, you're a peerless fairy. Come and accompany me obediently. I can spare your life. In front, the sea shark stared at Qin Xianer. Qin Xianer's face became extremely cold. She gritted her teeth and said, "You? I'm from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven. You'd better surrender obediently." So, What if you're from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven? I heard that the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven are all peerless fairies who have cultivated the secret techniques of the Green Hill Grotto Heaven. It seems that I definitely can't let you go. As he said that, he laughed loudly. A blue saber light rushed forward. Chin Sienner snorted coldly. Her hands kept waving as she took out a guqin and played it nonstop. The sound of the guqin was bleak as it rushed forward. It collided with the terrifying saber light. Boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound was heard. Chin Sienna retreated. The saber light was incomparably powerful. It actually broke through the sound of the guqin and attacked again. At this moment, another bell flew out from Sienna's body. The Hahuan bell shook and emitted a light wave to protect her, blocking the saber. At the same time, a terrifying sound wave swept out in all directions. The sea shark jumped into the sea and dodged the sound wave attack. Then he came out again. He was a sea demon himself. In addition to the infinite sea, he was like a fish in water. He appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Chin Sienner could only passively counterattack and was suppressed. The sea shark said, "Little fairy Qingqiu, do you see that? You're no match for me at all. I don't plan to kill you now. Follow me obediently. I'll let you enjoy glory and wealth. Otherwise, if you offend me, you'll end up in a miserable state." Although Chin Sienna had 2 treasures, she was still no match for him. Suddenly, he slashed out a ray of light. At the same time, his huge body kept changing. He turned into a human. A saber slashed over. Chin Sienna defended passively. The Hahuan bell was hit and kept shaking. She spat out blood and flew out. However, at this moment, the guqin in her hand also released a murderous sound that attacked the opponent's soul. The sea shark was also hit and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. "Damn woman, how dare you hurt me? You've completely angered me. I've decided to send you to hell now." An extremely terrifying radiance burst out from his eyes. His voice was like thunder, and his killing intent was shocking. Chin Sienner's eyes were filled with despair. The opponent was really too strong. The 2 weapons in her hand were both Sage King weapons, but they couldn't do anything to the opponent. Who is this person? Next, the peerless saber light slashed down on Chin Sienner, and she spat out blood again. Her body was dyed red with blood, and it was an abnormally shocking sight. Another saber. Her eyes were filled with despair because the Hahuan bell had been sent flying. The guqin in her hand probably couldn't hold on anymore. Am I really going to die here? She was about to close her eyes. At this moment, a huge mountain appeared and turned into an ancient demon mountain, sending the peerless saber light flying. I'm saved. Chin Sienna opened her eyes and felt like she had just survived a disaster. On the opposite side, a murderous intent burst out from the sea shark's eyes. "Who dares to interfere in my business? It's me. Are you not convinced?" He slapped out with a palm. It was like the palm of a god, rampaging and tearing apart the endless sea. He rushed forward. With a boom, the sea shark was sent flying. Half of the sea shark's body instantly cracked, and blood dyed the sea red. Damn it, he let out a crazy roar. The sea shattered, and endless monsters crawled. "Who dares to hurt me? I'm going to tear you into pieces." The sea shark's eyes were filled with a cold light as he stared ahead. He saw a young man walking over. His body was covered in shocking flames. Chapter 4490. Chin Sienner was also stunned. She saw a figure standing there like a god of war. So young and so powerful. That was her first thought. When she felt the 9 suns' divine fire, she was even more stunned. Lin Xian, it's him. Chin Sienner's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. She couldn't imagine meeting Lin Xian here. "Are you all right?" Lin Xian turned around and looked at Qin Sienna with concern. At the same time, he took out some elixir pills. Qin Sienna shook her head. I was injured. If you hadn't come, I would have died. I didn't expect to see you here. That's great. How are you now? Qin Sienna had many questions. Lin Xian also had many questions. So you know each other. Well then, you two can meet in hell. Hai Sha walked over and stared coldly at Lin Xian. He was really mad. Qin Sienna's expression was solemn. Lin Xian, be careful. This guy is very strong. I can't defeat him even with 2 sage weapons. Lin Xian looked at Hai Sha with a smile on his face. Don't worry. After I kill him, I'll treat you to seafood. Lin Xian wanted to kill him and eat him? Sea Shark was enraged. White smoke rose from his body, but very quickly, the corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. Ignorant ant, you want to kill me with just you alone? You're courting death. The 2 of you have completely angered me. When I catch the 2 of you later, I'll torture you. Cut the crap. Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly. Hai Sha was so angry that he laughed. It seems that the 2 of you are from the Grotto Heaven. Green Hill Grotto Heaven? Let me tell you, I'm from Ethereal Peak. If you dare to fight with me, I can kill the 2 of you with a wave of my hand. Now, kneel down and kowtow to me. Hai Sha's eyes were filled with arrogance. Qin Sienna's eyes narrowed. Ethereal Peak. No wonder he was so strong. No wonder the 2 sage weapons couldn't defeat him. It turned out that they were from the Misty Peak. During this period of time, even though she had suffered some hardships in the paradise, she had gained some understanding of the situation. In this region, the 6 great grotto heavens were powerful enough to suppress everything. However, above the paradise, there was an unparalleled overlord, and that was the Ethereal Peak. Even their elders had to be extremely respectful to the disciples of the Misty Peak. The Hai Sha in front of him was also from the Ethereal Peak. Seeing Qin Sienna's surprised expression, Hai Sha was very pleased. How is it? Are you scared? As long as you submit, I can spare your life. Qin Sienna's face was pale. She gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. Lin Xian smiled. I was wondering who it was. So it was the Misty Peak. The identity of Ethereal Peak is not enough to scare me. If you don't have any other skills, you can die now. Brat, you dare to attack me? Hai Sha was stunned. He didn't dare to believe it. The people of the paradise dared to go against the Misty Peak. Qin Sienna also said, Lin Xian, be careful. The people from Misty Peak are too strong. Don't fight them head on. Let's leave first. Lin Xian. Hai Sha frowned. Then a cold light flashed in his eyes. Could it be that you are the Lin Xian who defeated Xingqian? I say, how dare you go against the Misty Peak? So it's you. The other party knew Lin Xian. Qin Sienna was also stunned. Although she had entered the paradise, she didn't have the chance to come out. In fact, she didn't even know about the major events outside. This was the first time she came out. Therefore, she wasn't very clear about the matters regarding Lin Xian. Now that she saw that Hai Sha knew Lin Xian, she was very surprised. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. Since you know that I defeated Xingqian, why don't you kneel on the ground obediently and kowtow, and admit your mistake? Humph, brat, you are really arrogant. However, you are too arrogant. Don't think that you can ignore everything just because you defeated Xingqian. Although Xingqian had some status in the Misty Peak, what about his strength? He was just ordinary. He was just a newbie who had just entered the Misty Peak. My strength isn't something that he can compare to. Therefore, you don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. I will catch you, cripple you, and then bring you back to the Misty Peak. When I hand you over to the Star Tribe, they might even thank me for it. Boom! A terrifying aura surged out from Hai Sha and swept across the entire sea. Endless blade light rushed out from the sea and slashed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body swayed, and dodged quickly. At the same time, he said to Qin Xianer, "Go somewhere far away and protect yourself. Leave this guy to me. Okay, be careful." Qin Xianer gritted her teeth and retreated quickly with the two sage ruler weapons. At the same time, in the sea ahead, the 10 ultimate sword formation was activated and blocked the blade light. Lin Xian roared. His fist was like the sun as it rushed out and evaporated the endless sea. He charged towards Haisha. Haisha was originally disdainful. However, when he felt the terrifying fist, his eyes turned cold. That terrifying power shocked him greatly. The boundless water that filled the sky condensed into a shield of the ocean, blocking in front of him. In the next moment, the terrifying sun fist landed on the ocean shield and let out an earth-shattering sound. Thousands of thunderous sounds fell. The ocean shield only lasted for a moment before it was covered with cracks. Then, it suddenly cracked open. That power, Haisha was stunned. He was pushed back by the power. Boundless saber light surrounded him, and only then was he able to block the fist. His face had become extremely cold. His opponent's cultivation was only a sage ruler. However, that power was enough to threaten him. Thinking of the boastful words he had said and the sorry state he was in now, he couldn't bear it. He snorted and spat out a long blue blade and held it in his hand. The blade light flashed and slashed downwards. Clang! Lin Xian didn't dodge and caught the blade with his bare hands. Endless flames burst out. As for Lin Xian, he was holding onto his saber. Then his other hand formed the human ruler seal and slapped forward. Boom! The long blade was caught. Haisha couldn't dodge and attacked with the human ruler seal again. Haisha was sent flying. Endless cracks appeared on his body. Boom! 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 Like a kite with a broken string, Haisha fell into the sea and tore a crack in the sea. It formed a canyon. Qin Xianer was stunned. Had Lin Xian become so strong? Previously, she had used all her strength, but couldn't block it. But now, Lin Xian had suppressed his opponent, and even sent him flying. Had this guy become so strong? Had he reached the middle stage of the Sage Ruler realm? Qin Xianer looked carefully and realized that Lin Xian was only a Sage Ruler. That made her even more incredulous. She had already become a half-step Sage Ruler, and was only one step away from becoming a true Sage Ruler. She didn't expect that Lin Xian's strength would far surpass hers, even though his cultivation was behind hers. Chapter 44, 91. At the bottom of the sea, Haisha's body stopped, and his face became extremely ugly. Damn it. How could Lin Fan be so powerful? Lin Fan actually suppressed him. He couldn't believe that Lin Fan was just a sacred venerable. Damn it. He roared and rushed out. Lin Xian looked down and sneered. Lin Xian thought, "You're just S.O. How dare you be so arrogant? Is Ethereal Peak trash? Humph. Don't be so arrogant. I'll show you the ultimate technique of Ethereal Peak." Terrifying laws appeared on Haisha's body. He formed a seal with his palms and formed a strange rune. More and more runes appeared. Finally, it formed a picture scroll. Heavenly River picture. With a roar, endless water flew into the Heavenly River picture. That shocking power made Qin Xianer tremble and almost fall from the sky. This power is too terrifying. Can Lin Xian withstand it? Looking at the immeasurable water in the sky, Lin Xian's eyes also emitted a cold aura. 9 suns, mountain-embracing seal. An immemorial demon mountain appeared and suppressed the world. On the demon mountain, endless flames burned. Lin Xian pushed his palm, and the flaming immemorial demon mountain charged towards the Heavenly River picture in the sky. Boom! When the two collided, monstrous power and flames swept out. The Heavenly River picture was instantly shrouded and shattered. It couldn't withstand it at all. Damn it! So powerful? Seeing the heavenly river picture shattering, Hai Shah's face turned ugly. He took out the blue long saber again and attacked wildly. Heavenly River Saber Technique. The saber light was very sharp and contained shocking power. It was murderous. It was enough to kill anyone below the middle stage Sage King realm. But it was a pity that he met Lin Xian. Lin Xian's sword chi turned into a huge dragon. It roared and broke free from the saber light in the sky and sent Hai Sha flying. The people of Ethereal Peak are indeed trash. A cold smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. How is that possible? Hai Sha vomited blood again, and his body shattered. He roared in horror. Who are you? Golden flames like the sun. Could it be the legendary Nine Suns' divine body? What is that dragon roar? Are you from the dragon race? He was really too shocked. Lin Xian was shocked. You can even recognize the Nine Yang divine body. He was quite knowledgeable. It really was the Nine Yang divine body. Hai Sha was horrified. It was no wonder that he had been defeated. This was the starry skies, and his physique was extremely powerful. He turned around to flee. Lin Xian's huge hand came down like the 10,000 dragons picture, covering heaven and earth. Since you have seen through my divine body, do you still want to escape? Go to hell. No, you can't kill me. I am from the Misty Peak. If you kill me, it will be very troublesome. Let me go, and I promise I won't tell your secret. I don't believe in you. I only believe in people who go to hell. As for killing you, is it that troublesome? I've killed more than one expert of Ethereal Peak. I'm not afraid of you. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a monstrous sword light blossomed, completely enveloping his opponent. Boom, boom. It was like 10,000 dragons emerging from the sea. Even if the other party turned into a bloody mist, his soul would not be able to escape. Lin Xian put away the storage ring. He also sealed the other party's long blade and threw it into the Grand Sage Tower. Behind, Qin Sienna was stunned. The changes in the battle made her unable to react at all. When she came back to her senses, she realized that Hai Sha was already dead. Her face turned pale. Why did you kill him? He was from the Misty Peak. So what if he was from the Misty Peak? Lin Xian looked at the other party and laughed. He wanted to kill us. Isn't it normal for me to kill him? Furthermore, he wasn't the first Misty Peak expert to die in my hands. He should be the fifth one. Qin Sienna went crazy. In her knowledge, the Misty Peak was a supreme existence. The people of the Grotto Heavens would definitely not dare to touch the existence of the Misty Peak. But at this moment, Lin Xian did not have any scruples at all. What was this guy's identity? Why was she scared silly? Don't worry, the Misty Peak won't know about this. Oh, right. Tell me about your situation. Qin Sienna came back to her senses and said, there were treasures ahead. Lin Xian was surprised. He then followed Qin Sienna. The two of them flew into the sea. Along the way, Qin Sienna told him about her situation. Back then, the Huan sect was suppressed as well. Everyone else was turned into puppets. However, because she had the bloodline of the Qingqiu tribe, she did not become a puppet. They returned to the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. However, her status in the Grotto Heaven was not high. Back then, she was in despair because her master, the Closed Moon Sage King, had died in order to protect her. After Qin Sienna came to the Grotto Heaven, she went into seclusion. Now that she had just come out, she did not know about the situation of the others. Lin Xian nodded and told him about his own situation as well. When Qin Sienna heard about Lin Xian's situation, she was even more shocked. It was too legendary. This guy changed from a battle servant to the prince consort of the 1,000 Mountain Grotto Heaven, and even a disciple of the Xiantian Pavilion. It was like a legend. Oh, right. What are you Grotto Heavens looking for here? Lin Xian asked. Qin Sienna said that she did not know. She only knew that an ancient treasure was about to appear in this sea. So, When we received the news, we set out with the elders. We set up a formation here. I saw that the time was not right, so I prepared to come out to look for some opportunities. I found that there was a 10,000-year-old dragon marrow at the bottom of the sea. Quite a few people noticed this as well. Even the sea shark at the back had come. He defeated everyone, and even wanted to kill me. Next, it's up to you to save me. Lin Xian finally understood. 10,000-year-old dragon marrow? Good stuff. The two of them sped up. Soon, they entered the sea and found that there was a broken cave abode at the bottom of the sea. The cave abode was dilapidated and had been there for a long time. There was a formation, but it was also in ruins. The two of them walked in easily. After entering, Lin Xian felt a strange energy surging into his body. It made him feel refreshed. There was also the sound of a dragon roaring in his body. Lin Xian was surprised and looked ahead. There were dragon shadows on the wall of the cave in front of him. They were the size of a finger and looked like small dragons hanging there. This should be the dragon marrow. Looking at the power it contained, it was definitely 10,000-year-old dragon marrow. Lin Xian found that about 1/3 of the 10,000-year-old dragon marrow had been taken away. He was stunned and then quickly checked Hai Shaw's storage ring. Sure enough, he found that 1/3 of the dragon marrow in the storage ring. It turned out that it was taken away by this guy. But fortunately, the storage ring was already his. There were 12 drops of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow left. Each drop of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow was more precious than tens of thousands of other drops. Qin Sienna said, "How about we split it equally? If you feel that you're at a disadvantage, then I'll repay you with my body." "Okay, I accept your request. When you're free, you can give yourself to me as a gift." Lin Xian smiled. Qin Sienna also smiled. She rolled her eyes at Lin Xian and then began to collect the dragon marrow. Chapter 4492. She carefully stored every drop in a jade bottle. Then she said, "This is great. When I go back, I can absorb it for a long time with other treasures." She was really overjoyed. On the other side, Lin Xian grabbed 6 drops of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow and directly absorbed them into his body. He gave it to the dragon sword soul. Qin Sienna was stunned. "You're absorbing it just like that? Can you handle this power?" Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, I can handle it. If you really can't handle it, you can marry me." Qin Sienna sighed. "It's a pity that you have so many peerless fairies around you. Now that you're the prince consort of the 1,000-mountain grotto heaven, you probably won't like me, right?" Lin Xian said, "Don't be discouraged. I know people from Demon Emperor Mountain. I'll introduce you to them one day. With your talent, I think you'll improve by leaps and bounds. How dare you make fun of me?" Qin Sienna gritted her teeth. She wanted to pounce on him and bite him. Suddenly, she said, "Oh, right, you promised to eat seafood. Why did you beat that guy into a bloody mist?" Lin Xian laughed. "What's good about that guy? I'll find some shrimp soldiers and crab generals for you." The two of them left the cave abode. Lin Xian really caught a few shrimp soldiers and crab generals and made a pot of delicious food. Ethereal Peak. At this moment, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. During this period of time, 3 of the Ethereal Peak disciples' soul jade tablets had been broken. This meant that these 3 people had died outside. This was simply unbelievable. It was something that rarely happened in the past 1,000 years. What was the status of Ethereal Peak? They were above the grotto heaven and could do whatever they wanted in this area. No one dared to provoke them. Unless they went to other areas, they might die. Otherwise, they wouldn't die at all. But now, within a few days, 3 of them had fallen. Furthermore, all 3 of them were Saint Kings. This was unbearable. Damn it, what's going on? Who did it? Finally, an elder walked out and roared crazily. The others didn't dare to speak. In the end, someone said that the three of them had accepted the same mission, which was to kill Lin Xian. Who was Lin Xian? That elder asked. Not long after, he received news about Lin Xian, and his face immediately turned cold. Are you saying that the three of them died at the hands of a sacred venerate? Do you believe it? The others also looked at each other. To be honest, they didn't believe it either. Was a Saint Venerable really that powerful? To be able to kill so many Saint Kings consecutively? Although Lin Xian had defeated Stardust, defeating a holy king and killing a holy king were two different concepts. If a holy venerate wanted to go all out, a holy venerate would not be able to dodge. In the worst-case scenario, both of them would perish together. But now, three sage kings had fallen in the hands of the other party. The elder said that this kid was not simple and that there might be someone behind him. I have to go to the 1,000 Mountain Cave and find out who he is. Soon, a few figures left the ethereal peak and headed to the 1,000 Mountain Cave. The ethereal peak was very powerful, and these elders had their own families. Among them, the Star Tribe was one of the most powerful families in the ethereal peak. At this moment, in the Star Tribe, an elder sat cross-legged in the sky, cultivating. He was an extremely terrifying elder in the Star Tribe, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of a Saint King. The starlight in the sky circled around him, forming a starry sky map that looked extremely mysterious. At this moment, the elder suddenly opened his eyes. The starry sky map around him flickered nonstop, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. A terrifying, murderous intent swept across the area. With a wave of his hand, a soul jade token flew out from his storage ring. At this moment, it was already broken into pieces, and it was dim. This meant that the other party's soul had been destroyed. The Star Tribe elder's eyes were filled with killing intent. Had he fallen? This person was the one they had sent to kill Lin Xian. He was a middle-stage Saint King. But at this moment, he had fallen as well. It was definitely not done by that kid. No matter how strong a Saint Venerable was, he couldn't kill a Saint King. Just who was standing behind this kid? Men, check it out for me. How dare he do this to our ethereal peak? I will make him regret coming to this world. His palms kept forming seals, quickly forming an astrolabe. The astrolabe shone brightly, and endless illusions emerged from it. Finally, it stopped above the sea. The boundless sea. The Star Tribe elder frowned slightly. That guy had actually gone to the boundless sea. At this moment, another roar resounded through the 9 heavens. Everyone in the ethereal peak was stunned. My heavens, what's going on? The ethereal peak, which was usually incomparably quiet, had such a situation happen one after another. The Star Tribe elder frowned slightly. He was already in a bad mood, so he instantly flew out. Demon Whale, what are you shouting for? The Star Tribe elder frowned. Below, there was an extremely tall man. His skin was black, and there were terrifying demonic runes on it. His original form was a terrifying whale, and he was also a sea demon. He said that his disciple had fallen, and he had fallen in the boundless sea. Damn it, who dares to attack my ethereal peak? Is it the boundless sea again? The Star Tribe elder frowned as well. He said that someone from the Star Tribe had also fallen in the boundless sea. There was such a thing? The demon whale was also stunned. Then, he said, doesn't your Star Tribe have the great divination astrolabe? Hurry up and use it. All right, follow me. The Star Tribe elder nodded. I want to see who dares to attack my Star Tribe. The two of them turned into streams of light and disappeared from the mountain peak. They arrived at an extremely frightening palace hall. An astrolabe floated up and down continuously. There were stars in the sky, and it looked extremely mysterious. The Star Tribe elder cast a spell to activate the great divination astrolabe. The winds and clouds in the boundless sea were changing. In the void, starlight fell and swept in all directions. A voice came from the starlight. His body and soul had been destroyed, and there was only some blood left. What a ruthless method! Hurry up and take a look. Where did Hai Sha fall? Another voice came. Then the starlight disappeared and appeared in another sea. Did he fall here? Suddenly, the starlight fell and pierced through the sea, forming a huge crack. A broken cave abode appeared. There was a powerful aura left inside, and it seemed like there were treasures. Obviously, Hai Sha had been killed when he was fighting for the treasures. Don't worry, they can't escape. The starlight in the sky flickered, and then spread quickly. On the other side, Lin Xian and Qin Xian'er had already left the broken cave abode and appeared above the sea. Let's go. Qin Xian'er was ready to return. Lin Xian was also ready to leave this place and find a safe place to study the map. What was going on? He had obtained a key from the map, but where did this key open? He still didn't understand. Suddenly, his body shook, and he frowned. Chapter 44-93. Little White also jumped out, his eyes twitching as he said, "It seems like we've been targeted." He didn't feel comfortable. Lin Xian also frowned. Indeed, he could feel a mysterious force searching for them. What should I do? Is it someone from Ethereal Peak? Qin Xian'er's face turned pale. Why don't you follow me back to Green Hill Grotto Heaven and hide? Lin Yuan shook his head. If it was someone from Ethereal Peak, it would be useless to go to Green Hill Grotto Heaven. Oh no, let's go. Lin Xian instantly formed an array and took Qin Xian'er with him as they used the void escape and disappeared. In the next moment, a ray of starlight appeared where they were standing and enveloped them. Then a voice rang out. Spatial power? You actually managed to escape. You're quite capable. However, you can't escape. The void cracked open, and Lin Xian and Qin Xian'er appeared. Qin Xian'er asked, "What should we do?" "We can't defeat them." Lin Xian said, "The person who attacked us is very strong, and we can't defeat him. However, it's impossible for him to find me." After saying that, he stepped out of the array again. Within the formation, an extremely terrifying power of space also appeared. He was an array formation expert, and Xueqi also liked to study array formations. Therefore, there were many array formation materials in her residence. When Lin Xian had nothing to do, he would create a lot of array formations in case of emergencies. Now, he really had to use them. This was also spatial teleportation, and the distance was even further than the void escape. After he disappeared, the ray of starlight appeared again. Damn it, you're using an array formation. I don't believe that I can't find you. An even colder voice rang out from the starlight. Soon, he caught the aura of an array formation again, and his face turned even colder. However, at this moment, terrifying lightning appeared in the sky, and a sword array formation appeared again. It directly slashed the ray of starlight. How could a mere lightning go against the great star spread plate? You're courting death. A cold laugh rang out from the starlight. When the lightning struck the starlight, there was a deafening sound. The lightning shattered, but the starlight was unharmed. However, the sword chi was unusually cold as it shattered the starlight. An angry roar came from within the starlight. How could this be? Misty Peak. Inside a palace, the elder of the star race had a gloomy face. His eyes were filled with disbelief. There was actually someone who could shatter the starlight of the great divination star plate. What kind of weapon was this? Could it be that there was a supreme sword king contending against them? The immeasurable sea. On an uninhabited island, two figures appeared. There was also a small monkey. It was Lin Xian and the other two. After coming out, Lin Xian used his Tianji God eyes to scan his surroundings. Qin Xian'er asked, had they caught up yet? After waiting for a while, Lin Xian shook his head. They shouldn't be able to catch up. I've already shattered their starlight. My guess is that they are using some kind of special weapon to pursue us. Fortunately, I shattered the starlight, so they shouldn't be able to detect it for the time being. At this point, he once again used the great dragon sword soul to completely destroy the aura in the storage rings. Then it enveloped him. In this way, they shouldn't be able to detect it. Lin Xian once again set up a formation on the island. It should be safe here for the time being. Let's cultivate first. Didn't you get the dragon marrow? Hurry up and use it. Otherwise, if those people from the Grotto Heaven find out, they might snatch it away. Qin Sienna nodded. Her status in the Grotto Heaven wasn't high, so she also prepared to cultivate here. Lin Xian prepared to absorb the power in the storage rings he had obtained. It wasn't safe to keep these things. It was better to give them to the Great Dragon Sword Soul to increase its power. As the Great Dragon Sword Soul increased, his strength would also increase by leaps and bounds. The power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul continued to increase. Lin Xian felt that his strength was also increasing. At this moment, lightning condensed in the sky, as if it was about to fall. Lin Xian frowned. He hadn't broken through. He was now at the peak of the Saint Venerable realm. If he broke through, he would be a half-step Saint King. However, he still couldn't feel the opportunity to break through. Yet lightning tribulation was descending. Lin Xian frowned. He left the island and went to the depths of the sea to receive the impact of the lightning. This time, the lightning was blood-colored. It was shocking. It seemed that it wasn't a heavenly tribulation, but a heavenly punishment. Damn it, he was abandoned by the heavens. He didn't expect that after coming to the buried Emperor's star, he would still receive the power of heavenly punishment. Moreover, it was even stronger than before. Lin Xian frowned. He entered the sword Dao small world in his body to resist. However, if he wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, he had to find a place with a great emperor. Otherwise, the heavenly punishment would be even more terrifying. He couldn't resist it. It seemed that the matter was getting more and more urgent. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Fortunately, the mysterious small sword in his body was incomparably profound. It seemed to have formed its own world. Only then could he block the terrifying heavenly punishment. Red lightning filled the sky, emitting a destructive aura. The surrounding sea demons of the limitless sea all prostrated themselves. At this moment, a roar sounded. Damn it, who disturbed my rest? Damn it, it's actually a heavenly punishment. Where did this terrifying person abandoned by the heavens come from? A toad jumped out of the sea and kept roaring. When it saw the figure in front of it, it was instantly stunned. Kid, it's you? Lin Xian had a sword Dao small world beside him. When he felt that there was a power behind him, he slapped out with a backhand. The toad screamed and flew back into the sea. Then he roared, "Damned brat, you dare to hit your own people?" However, Lin Xian couldn't hear anything. He was going all out to transcend the tribulation. The toad could only stay there angrily. After waiting for a long time, the red lightning in the sky slowly disappeared. Lin Xian put away the mysterious small sword and let out a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. Fortunately, he had this thing. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous to resist the heavenly punishment. He turned around and revealed a look of surprise. Huh? Why are you here? Where's Rosalong? The toad was infuriated. Damned brat. You slapped me just now. How are you going to make it up to me? Lin Xian was stunned. It was you just now. I thought someone attacked me. However, your skin is really thick. I can't kill you with one slap. The toad was furious. I'll fight you for 300 rounds. It rushed forward, but it was slapped back by Lin Xian. Damn kid, you're clearly a Saint Venerable. Why are you so powerful? It can't be helped. you can't compare to a peerless genius. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The toad was so angry that it vomited. Lin Xian said, "Why is it only you? Where's Rizalong?" Chapter 4494. The toad said, "Don't mention it. I followed you to the buried Emperor Star and was then suppressed by someone. I was separated from that fellow, but when I left, that fellow said that he was going to look for some dragon race. It seemed that he wanted to return. The Crimson Dragon went to look for the dragon race." Lin Xian was surprised. "Forget it. Let's not bother with this fellow. The other party originally had the inheritance of the dragon race. In addition, his strength and talent were top-notch." Lin Xian was not worried about this fellow at all. At this moment, a terrifying aura could be felt from the island. A phantom appeared. He was surprised and turned his head to look. He saw the phantom of a nine-tailed fox roaring towards the sky. 9 tails danced in the air. The sky collapsed, and the earth cracked. The sea swept across. After the toad saw it, it was surprised. The 9-tailed fox was that fairy. She was not simple. He saw Qin Xianer. Lin Xian was also stunned. It seemed that Qin Xianer had been underestimated. The Qingqiu bloodline in her body was definitely terrifying. One must know that the Sage King he had encountered in the Qingqiu clan only had 7 tails. But now, Qin Xianer had actually used the 9-tailed fox. It was probably a top-notch bloodline talent. The toad at the side said, "No, it's not just because of the bloodline. According to my observation, this fellow's origin is not ordinary. It's very likely that she's the reincarnation of someone." The 9-tailed race was also an ancient race. The strongest among them usually only appeared with 8 tails. 9 tails was really too rare. One would not appear in 10,000 years. There were 2 reasons for the 9-tailed phantom to appear. First, her bloodline was previously sealed. Second, she was a reincarnator. But no matter which one it was, her future achievements were limitless. When she grew up, she would not be weaker than your divine body. The toad sighed. It was rumored that there was a 9-tailed fox that stirred up heaven and earth and even dared to compete with the great emperor. In the end, she was suppressed by the great emperor. But even so, you can imagine what kind of existence she was, right? So powerful. Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that he had underestimated the true 9-tailed fox. The toad said, "Competing with the great emperor? You might not be able to imagine it." Great sages were incredible, weren't they? The 9-tailed heavenly fox grew up eating great sages as food. Can you guess how terrifying he is? Who would have thought that Qin Xianer would have such a terrifying bloodline? The Green Hill Grotto was really burying a genius. Brat, you should remind her. The toad said that she came from another world, and her foundation is not on the buried Emperor Star. In other words, she didn't have any powerful background here. Once someone found out that she had such a terrifying bloodline, they would definitely kill her. Do you think those old monsters of the Green Hill clan will let her go? Even if he didn't kill her, he would extract her peerless bloodline. Therefore, he had to remind him. Lin Xian nodded and flew forward. The phantom of the 9-tailed fox slowly disappeared. Qin Xianer also opened her eyes and said, "Great. I feel that my strength has increased." He was not far from breaking through to become a true holy king. Lin Xian said, "Xianer, let me tell you something. Don't be shocked." He recounted what he had seen earlier. After Qin Xianer heard it, she was shocked. "You said that the phantom of the 9-tailed fox appeared on my body." She was really shocked. As a member of the 9-tailed clan, she naturally knew what this meant. Lin Xian reminded her, "You don't have a powerful background here, so it's better not to show such talent." Qin Xian nodded. "I understand. Thank you." Lin Xian smiled. "What are you thanking me for? You've already given yourself to me. How can I not help you?" You, Qin Xianer's face turned red. The toad exclaimed, "Damn. I came late. What did I miss?" Scram. Qin Xianer sent the toad flying with a kick. "What are you going to do next?" Lin Xian asked. Qin Xianer said, "I have to go back. If I don't go back for a long time, they will look for me and interrogate me. At that time, the secret will be discovered." Lin Xian nodded. "Go back to the Green Hill Grotto first. We'll contact each other again." "What about you?" Qin Xianer asked. After all, Lin Xian had killed many experts of the Ethereal Peak. If he was targeted by the Ethereal Peak, it would be troublesome. Lin Xian smiled. "They can't catch me." The two of them bade farewell, and Qin Xianer returned. Lin Xian rose into the air and flew in another direction. Qin Xianer didn't return to the grotto. Instead, she returned to the palace above the limitless sea. After all, she came back with the elder this time. When she came to the nearby sea, she felt that the atmosphere was unusually tense. She was extremely nervous. She wanted to go back quietly. Suddenly, she felt a group of people walking towards her. The leader was a man who said coldly, "Qin Xianer, where did you go? Come with me to see the elder." Qin Xianer was stunned. Wasn't the matter discovered? She could only brace herself. The person in front sneered. "Don't forget your identity. Although you're from the Green Hill clan, you're from another world. You're not a prince or princess. How dare you sneak out without orders? Just wait to be punished." Qin Xianer heaved a sigh of relief. It didn't matter if she was punished. At most, she would be locked up for a few days. Or she would be asked to do more missions, as long as their secret wasn't discovered. Indeed, Qin Xianer was punished. After returning, she probably wouldn't be able to come out again. She was happy to go into seclusion. After waiting for 2 days, these people left. They seemed to have gained nothing. Coupled with the death of the Ethereal Peak experts, these people didn't dare to stay here. Hence, they left in a hurry. On the other side, Lin Xian and Brother Toad were on their way. "Kid, where are we going next?" Brother Toad asked. Lin Xian said, "I don't know. I have a map with me. It should be a treasure ground. I just don't know where it is. Let me take a look." Brother Toad took a look and said, "This is a fragment of a map. Have you gotten the rest?" Lin Xian shook his head. "No, I got this map by chance. With this map, I got a key in the limitless sea." Lin Xian took out the key. It was a bronze key. It was very simple, and there were countless runes on it. It gave off a mysterious aura. Brother Toad looked at it for a long time, but couldn't understand it. It should be the key to some place. It must be related to the map. "Kid, it seems that I didn't look for it properly. And Little White, isn't he an expert at finding treasures? Let him look for it." Little White glared at him angrily and said lazily, "I'm not interested." Indeed, the little guy's interest was in all kinds of spirit fruits and spirit herbs. Lin Xian said, "I'm not in a hurry. These things can only be found by chance. If I can't find them, I won't go. I came out this time to find some opportunities. Also, I want to know more about the buried Emperor's Star and see if there are any remnants of emperors." Chapter 4495. The territory ruled by the Misty Peak was boundless and contained endless secrets and legends. Among them, there were a few ancient cities that had been left behind since ancient times. No one knew the exact time, but no one dared to behave atrociously in the ancient cities. This place was very sacred and had an unfathomable aura. However, on this day, something happened in Qinquan Ancient City that shocked countless people in the city. On this day, an old sigh could be heard from Qinquan Ancient City. It was as if it was ringing in everyone's ears. It shocked countless people. Every full moon night, they would hear such a sigh. As a result, the news spread quickly. Many experts came to investigate, but in the end, They found nothing. However, on this full moon night, other than the old Sai, the entire Chinquan ancient city was shaking. It was as if it was about to ascend. The people in the city were shocked. The news spread even wider, and countless people were sure that there were changes in the ancient city. Perhaps the legendary buried secret was about to appear. For a moment, many people were ready to head over. It was said that the 6 grotto heavens had also received the news and headed over. Even Ethereal Peak would send people over to investigate. Lin Xian also received the news. He took the map and found that Qianquan ancient city was not far from them. They would arrive after flying for about 5 days. Hence, he was ready to head over. Qianquan ancient city was very majestic and untraceable. It was like an ancient beast that stood between heaven and earth. The city walls were very tall, and there were runes flickering on them with mysterious power. At the city gate, there were 2 statues that were 1,000 meters tall and completely black. They had a majestic aura and gave people a sense of grandeur as they approached. Feeling this terrifying aura, Lin Xian was also amazed. It was really surprising. As expected of an ancient city, at this moment he had already changed his appearance and identity. After all, he did not want to be targeted by the people of Ethereal Peak, and this time he knew that many experts from the Grotto Heavens would also come. Hiding his identity might save him some unnecessary trouble. The toad was also amazed. He felt that this city definitely had treasures. That fairy was quite good-looking. The toad looked at the person in the distance and drooled. "Brat, it's very suitable for you. Do you want me to help you snatch it?" Lin Xian glanced at him. "You better keep a low profile here. The people here are all very strong. Otherwise, they might catch you and cook you." The surrounding people were all shocked. Did this toad want to die? Don't you know that they're from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven? The leader of the group was the leader of the heavenly abode. He was a late-stage Saint King. However, there were indeed many fairies who knew about the Grotto Heaven. Every single one of them was peerless. The one in the purple dress should be Fairy Yinsu. Many people looked at the purple figure with envy in their eyes. Lin Xian looked over, and a smile appeared on his face. It was this woman again. It wasn't the first time he had seen him. The first time they had met, he had been watching the battle from afar. It was when he killed Mr. Ling Su. The people from the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven descended. The one leading the team was Elder Tianyin. Previously, he went to the Limitless Sea without any success. Recently, he received some news, so he came here, Qinquan Ancient City. At this moment, looking at the majestic ancient city, she also sighed with emotion. She hoped that she would gain something this time. Yinsu was also by his side. As an outstanding disciple of the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, she was very valued. This time, her cultivation had reached a bottleneck. If she wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, she still needed an opportunity. Therefore, she was prepared to come to Qinquan Ancient City to fight for her own opportunity. Feeling the countless envious gazes around her, Yinsu ignored them all. As a peerless fairy, a favored daughter of the heavens, she had received the attention of tens of thousands of people since she was young. However, the person who could move her had yet to appear. Suddenly, her heart skipped a beat, and a huge fear emerged. She turned her head abruptly, revealing a puzzled look, giving her a familiar and terrifying feeling. She looked around, but didn't find anything. However, she saw a figure. That person was wearing a red robe, but his face was extremely unfamiliar. On his shoulder, there was a little monkey, and beside him was a toad. It was very strange. This man gave her an indescribable feeling. She seemed to have seen him before, but she couldn't remember. Moreover, from the other party's calm gaze, she actually felt a kind of fear from the bottom of her heart. "Junior Sister Sue, what's wrong?" Beside her, the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven asked with concern. Yinsu shook her head. It was nothing. She withdrew her gaze. However, two figures raised their heads and looked in the direction of Insu's gaze. When they saw Lin Xian, a cold glint appeared in their eyes. "A toad wants to eat swan meat?" "Humph," they sneered and ignored him. In addition to the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven, Lin Xian also saw people from other grotto heavens. Even the people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven had also come. Lin Xian realized that most of the people who came this time were Saint Kings. It seemed that these were the true experts of the grotto heavens. There were even some that Lin Xian had never seen before. It seemed that they had just come out of seclusion, or perhaps they were people who had rushed over from outside to do missions. These people were all powerful experts and geniuses who had experienced hundreds of battles. Their appearance shocked countless people. It seemed that this time there would definitely be a storm in Qianquan Ancient City. Let's go into," Lin Xian said to the toad. Then they also walked forward. After entering, it was very lively. The streets were very wide. There was no problem for dozens of monsters to walk side by side. There were also pavilions that were scattered all over the place like stars in a chessboard. There were restaurants and weapon pavilions, elixir halls, and everything else. The two of them exclaimed as they walked. Suddenly, the toad saw a hall that was even more majestic than an imperial palace. It flew out from inside and smelled all kinds of food. It said, "I'm hungry. Let's go in and eat." Lin Xian looked and saw that the plaque on the hall's forehead said, "First Hall of Universe." What a domineering name. He nodded. "Okay, let's go." They walked inside. At this moment, a sneer came from the side. "Get lost. A toad wants to enter here? Can you afford it? Every grain of rice in the First Hall of Universe is a heavenly treasure, and the price is calculated in dragon marrow. With just the two of you, I think you'd better not embarrass yourselves here." Lin Xian frowned slightly and looked to the side. He saw a few people in green robes walk out. The leader was a tall man who looked very arrogant. Next to him was a pale, short-haired man with a sword on his back. It flickered with a cold light. Both of them had reached the Grand Sage realm, and judging from the tokens they were wearing, they should be from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. Lin Xian recognized them at a glance. They were the two people who had followed Insu back then. They were Yi Xiaofeng, the fox hero. The two of them looked at Lin Xian with killing intent. This kid dared to peek at their junior sister Sue. They would not forgive him. Chapter 4496. Senior brothers, what are you waiting for? Insu's voice came from behind. She walked over, and a strange fragrance wafted over, causing many people's eyes to light up. The two people in front of her also smiled. "Junior Sister Sue, we're waiting for you. Let's go." Insu nodded and walked over. When she saw Lin Xian, she was stunned again, and her eyes were filled with even more confusion. When Yi Xiaofeng saw this scene, he asked, "Junior Sister Sue, you know this person?" Insu shook her head. "No, let's go." She nodded slightly at Lin Xian and walked in. "Kid, if you hadn't stopped me just now, I would have killed them with a slap. Damn it." The toad was so angry that it stomped its feet. "How dare you call me a toad?" He wanted nothing more than to smash their faces. Lin Xian's face was also cold. "It doesn't matter. Let's wait for a while. I'll remember these two guys. I won't let them off." The two of them walked forward. At this moment, another person walked over and exclaimed. He jumped. Lin Xian turned his head and revealed a look of surprise. "Qin Xian, is she here too?" Lin Xian said with a smile. "Aren't you punished?" Qin Xian was stunned at first, but then she understood. Lin Xian had changed his appearance. She said, "Originally, I was going to be punished, but for some reason, Elder Tianyin brought me here." Lin Xian and Qin Xian walked inside. During this time, Qin Xian also told Lin Xian some strange things in Qinquan ancient city. Lin Xian was also surprised after hearing this. There were sighs even before the full moon. Moreover, Qinquan city seemed to be about to ascend. It was really strange. No wonder so many experts were gathered here. The two of them entered the hall and went to the second floor. They found a place by the window and sat down. "Junior Sister Qin, why are you here?" At this moment, a surprised voice was heard. A woman in purple walked over. It was Insu. Insu looked at Xian with great surprise. She looked at Lin Xian again, a trace of doubt in her eyes. Then she smiled. "Junior Martial Sister Qin, this young master looks unfamiliar. Aren't you going to introduce him?" Qin Sienna was stunned at first, but she soon realized that Lin Xian wasn't willing to reveal his true identity. This was Sword Maniac Young Master. When Lin Xian was in the Green Hill Grotto Heaven, he used the name Sword Maniac. Now, Qin Sienna naturally said it out loud. "Sword Maniac?" Insu was surprised. She thought about it carefully and did not recall anyone using this name. Therefore, she asked which paradise the Sword Maniac Prince belonged to. "I'm not from the heavenly abode." Lin Xian shook his head. What a cold person. Phonim was surprised. One had to know that with her beauty, as long as a man saw her, their eyes would definitely turn red, and they would even try to curry favor with her. However, the man in front of her didn't seem to care at all. In fact, he didn't even seem to want to talk to her. This made her feel defeated. What was going on? Could it be that she couldn't compare to Qin Sienna? She withdrew her thoughts and said, "Junior Martial Sister Qin, since you are your friend, come with me." Qin Sienna originally wanted to refuse, but Lin Xia said that it was fine. Then the group of people walked forward. Lin Xian and the others were only sitting in the ordinary seats, but Phonim brought them to the VIP seats. There were individual courtyards inside. This time, they were going to the Purple Cloud Pavilion, which was east of the main hall. There was another small courtyard. After entering, the interior looked like a paradise. There were many people standing in front of them. Some were from the Grotto Heaven, and some were from other Grotto Heavens. "Junior Martial Sister Su, you're back." Yi Xiaofeng turned around and smiled. He walked over to welcome them. However, when he saw Lin Xian and Lin Xian beside Phonim, he frowned. "Kid, how did you get here? Is a toad qualified to come here? Damn you." The toad jumped up. "If you don't accept it, I'll fight you for 300 rounds. Do you believe that I won't slap you to death? Do you want to die?" Yi Xiaofeng's face darkened, and the aura of a sage ruler spread out from his body. It caused the surrounding heaven and earth to shake. What happened? The people in front also turned their heads. "Are you not giving us face by fighting here? Junior Martial Brother, what's going on?" Hu Renjie also walked over. His expression was cold. He naturally saw Lin Xian and the toad, and immediately frowned. Phonim said, "Senior Martial Brothers, don't be angry. She's someone I brought here. The two of them are Junior Martial Sister Qin's friends." Hu Renjie looked at Qin Sienna, and a light appeared in his eyes. He remembered this person who had just come from another world. She went into seclusion not long after she arrived, and they hadn't seen each other much. He didn't expect her to come this time. Immediately, he smiled. "So it's Junior Martial Sister Qin. In that case, I'll give Junior Martial Sister Qin some face." He waved his hand and came to Qin Sienna's side. Qin Sienna held Lin Xian's arm, nodded, and said, "Thank you, Senior Martial Brother." Then she held Lin Xian's hand and walked in. Hu Renjie's expression froze. Looking at their backs, his face turned cold. "Senior Martial Brother, do you like this girl?" Yi Xiaofeng asked. Hu Renjie didn't say anything. Yi Xiaofeng smiled. "Senior Martial Brother, don't worry, I'll help you later." With that, they also walked up. There were many seats in front, and the toad directly jumped to the best one and sat down. Countless people exclaimed, and Yi Xiaofeng's face darkened. However, Hu Renjie didn't say anything. He would let the toad be smug for a while first, he would skin these two toads alive and pull out their tendons. Phoneme introduced Qin Xianer and Lin Xian. As for Lin Xian, everyone ignored him. He wasn't even a grotto heaven, so he probably didn't have any status. However, everyone paid close attention to Qin Xianer. After all, Qin Xianer's appearance wasn't inferior to Phoneme's. In fact, she was even more beautiful than Phoneme. In addition, she was a newcomer, so it should be easier to woo her. Junior Martial Sister Qin, I'm from the Flying Feather Grotto Heaven. Junior Martial Sister Qin, I'm from the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven. Junior Martial Sister Qin, if you have any difficulties, feel free to come to me. The surrounding people began to introduce themselves. They were either geniuses from grotto heavens or experts from other ancient races. In short, their identities were extraordinary. These people all stared at Qin Xianer with a hint of passion in their eyes. Obviously, they were all interested in Qin Xianer. Junior Martial Sister Xianer, sit with me. At this moment, Hu Renjie stood up and said with a smile. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were also surprised. It seemed that Hu Renjie was also interested in Qin Xianer. Moreover, these two should be from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Since Hu Renjie had taken a fancy to Qin Xianer, many people gave up on the idea. This Hu Renjie was not weak. In the younger generation of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, he was definitely ranked in the top 10. Qin Xianer was also stunned. She said, "No need. I'll sit here." This guy actually refused. Many people were shocked. Originally, they were from the same paradise, and she wanted to help them. However, these people mocked Lin Xian and even had designs on her. Naturally, she had to look on coldly. Insu also frowned slightly. After all, Qin Xianer and Lin Xian were brought here by her. Yet, they were being ridiculed in such a manner. She said, "Everyone, why do you have to do this? Can you give me some face?" As soon as she said this, the people from the other paradises stopped talking and looked at Yi Xiaofeng and Hu Renjie. Hu Renjie's eyes also turned cold. Yi Xiaofeng said, "Junior Sister Supersonic, I advise you to stay out of this matter." Insu also frowned. Do these two really think that they can do whatever they want just because they are holy kings? Since you don't welcome us, I'll leave with Junior Sister Qin and Sword Maniac Prince. At the same time, she said, "I'm sorry I didn't treat you well. I'll open a separate courtyard, and we'll go there to eat." After that, she wanted to leave with Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not have the intention to leave. Qin Xianer looked at Yin Su with a smile on her face. "Thank you for your kindness, Senior Sister Yin Su. It seems that there are still good people in the Green Hill Paradise. After all, Senior Sister Yin Su is a good person. If Senior Sister Yin Su is in trouble in the future, I can help her. Want to leave?" Hu Renjie also smiled when he saw this scene. "You can leave if you want to, but you have to get out yourself. You two can't leave." He stared at Lin Xian, then at Insu and Qin Xianer. The corners of Yi Xiaofeng's mouth also lifted into a smile. Since Hu Renjie was interested in Qin Xianer, Insu was his. He had been chasing this junior sister for a long time, but she always found an excuse to reject him. This time, he would definitely not let the other party escape. Insu's face changed when she heard this. "Damn it, this guy is also thinking about me." Qin Xianer sighed. These people are really courting death. Courting deaths. She was ready to watch a good show. Lin Xian stood up and walked forward. He came in front of Hu Renjie and said coldly, "Get out. How? Why don't you show me? Kid, do you want to die? I didn't attack you just now because of my two junior sisters. How dare you challenge me? Do you believe that I can kill you in one move? Even if I don't kill you, I can break your limbs and destroy your cultivation." He was already a Saint King, and Lin Xian was only a saint venerable. He could kill Lin Xian with his eyes. However, Lin Xian was courting death. Is that so? With your cultivation? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up in disdain. Make your move. Let me see if you have the right to kill me. Ignorant ant, I'll fulfill your wish. Huron Jie's eyes flashed coldly. He was really angry. Lin Xian was not from the grotto heavens and did not have a powerful identity. So what if he killed him? Thinking of this, he threw out a palm attack. Under the palm attack, the whole world shook. The geniuses from the grotto heavens were shocked. He's too strong. No wonder he's from the grotto heavens. His strength was so strong that even a saint king of the same level would not be able to block it, not to mention a saint venerable. Under the palm attack, Lin Xian's soul would be destroyed. The surrounding people sneered. Lin Xian looked at the attack and threw out a palm attack. You dare to fight back? Huron Jie was stunned. Then a cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. The law on his palm was even more terrifying. In the next moment, their palms collided. Boom! The sound of thunder and the sound of bones breaking was heard. The people from the grotto heavens laughed. Junior Sister Qin, it's such a pity. I'm afraid your cultivation partner will be destroyed. They smiled coldly. However, in the next moment, when they saw the situation in front of them, the smiles on their faces froze. Then a look of horror and shock appeared on their faces. The sound of bones breaking was heard. Then a blood mist filled the air. Huron Jie's palm was broken and turned into a blood mist. Then his arm was broken. In the end, half of his body was torn into pieces. He retreated and roared crazily. It was hard to believe that he was in such a miserable state. Chapter 4498. Lin Xian retracted his palm. There was not even a crack on his palm. What was going on? The other party was unscathed from the clash of the two. However, a sage king was seriously injured. The surrounding people were stunned. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Yi Xiaofeng was even more stunned. His senior brother, Huron Jie, had been defeated? How was that possible? Yinsu was also dumbfounded. She could not believe it. Only Qin Xian'er smiled. It seemed that the dragon was about to awaken. These people were unlucky. With one palm, Huron Jie was smashed into a bloody mist. Then Lin Xian continued to walk forward. His expression was extremely cold and emotionless. Huron Jie's pupils constricted as he roared crazily. Damn brat, how dare you hurt me? You're dead. I'll skin you alive. I'll break your bones. I'll make you wish you were dead. Not only you, but everyone related to you will go to hell. A crazy roar was heard. Yi Xiaofeng also came back to his senses. His back was already drenched in cold sweat. At this moment, he also jumped out and said, Brat, how dare you hurt Senior Brother Huron? You're dead. Senior Brother Huron is from the Qingqiu clan. Senior Brother Huron's father and grandfather are both elders. Kneel down and accept your death now. Otherwise, you're finished. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at the other party. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. His gaze was like a divine sword as he looked at Yi Xiaofeng. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he took 2 steps back and almost fell to the ground. Damn it! He could not believe that the other party was only a sage king. His gaze was like a divine sword that was about to pierce through his body. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he did not dare to speak. Lin Xian looked at Huron Jie again. Huron Jie also felt his hair stand on end. He felt like his body was about to be pierced through by the gaze. He could only roar to show off his arrogance. Brat, do you know who I am? Do you know that many elders and powerhouses of our grotto heaven are here this time? As long as they know that you're dead when they arrive. Oh, is that so? Then go ahead and call for help. Lin Xian said indifferently, I'll give you a chance. call all the elders you know over. Cold killing intent also surfaced in Lin Xian's eyes. Now that his strength had increased greatly, he wanted to have a big battle. Moreover, he was a disciple of the Xiantian pavilion. Even if an unparalleled Saint King appeared, he wouldn't be able to escape. He also believed that those people would not dare to touch him. Hearing this, the surrounding people were all stunned. Even Hu Renjie did not believe it. What did he say? The other party wanted him to seek help from the elders and experts? Did this brat really think that he could fight against the elders of the Grotto Heaven? This was a good opportunity. This brat was too arrogant. He hurriedly informed his elders. On the other side, Yi Xiaofeng also revealed a ferocious smile. This brat, who doesn't know his limits, is definitely going to die this time. Phonim was also stunned. What was the sword maniac thinking? It looked at Qin Xiener and said, "Junior sister, take the young master and leave first. I will deal with the situation here." However, Xiener shook her head. "I can't change his decision." Phonim sighed. Why was this junior sister Qin so stubborn? She had no choice but to take out the voice transmission bell. "Master, something has happened on my side. Can you come over for a while?" It didn't take long for the voice transmission bell to return. Don't worry about this matter. Hu Renjie's family is extremely powerful. I can't fight against them. Phonim's eyes were filled with despair when she heard this news. Who dares to cause trouble in the first hall of heaven and earth? At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Everyone was taken aback as they looked ahead. The next moment, they saw a tall man walking over. This man was handsome and wore luxurious clothes. He had many saint artifacts on him. Endless laws surrounded him as he raised his hands. It was as if a god had descended. Behind him was a middle-aged man with a white face and no beard. This middle-aged man looked like a scholar. There was a mysterious power in his eyes. "Who are you?" The man from the Flying Feather Grotto Heaven frowned and asked, "Who dares to interfere in our business? My name is Luo Fifan, and I'm also the owner of the first hall of heaven and earth," the man said proudly. Hearing this, the surrounding people exclaimed, "Luo Fifan, the owner of the hall of heaven and earth." His identity was extraordinary. Although it was their first time in the ancient city of heaven and earth, they had heard of this man. He was one of the 3 young masters of the ancient city of heaven and earth. His identity and strength were unparalleled. Even if they saw him, they would have to treat him with respect. The ancient city of heaven and earth had been passed down for a long time. The Luo family, as one of the 3 top families in the ancient city of heaven and earth, had a terrifying background and strength. As the young master of the Luo family, Luo Fifan's identity was extraordinary. Therefore, the surrounding people were shocked. This was one of the 3 young masters of heaven and earth. Now that they had met him, he was indeed extraordinary. Many of the geniuses from the Grotto Heavens were excited. Luo Fifan looked at the injured Hu Renjie and frowned slightly. "You guys are fighting here. Don't tell me you don't care about the rules I set?" They could feel the anger in the voice. The others sucked in a breath of cold air as well. Although they were powerful, their status was still far from being comparable to the other party. Even the arrogant Volpra hero's expression changed. He said, "It's this guy who started it. He doesn't know what's good for him." He pointed at Lin Xian. Luo Fifan looked at him. He also looked at Lin Xian. Then he said, "Did you do it?" He was twisting the truth. Lin Xian snorted. "You should know who did it." "Who did it?" Luo Fifan asked. "Those from the other Grotto Heavens." They all pointed at Lin Xian. "Yes, it's this guy." They didn't dare to offend Hu Renjie, let alone Luo Fifan. "It seems that you did it. In that case, kneel down and cut off your hands. Crawl out of here, and I'll spare your life." Luo Fifan said coldly. He didn't allow anyone to break the rules, he said. Once someone broke the rules, they would have to pay the price. Lin Xian smiled when he heard that. Why are you laughing? Luo Fifan frowned. Lin Xian said, I'm laughing at your stupidity. You should be surrounded by a lot of arrays in the world. Not only are there defensive arrays, but also observation arrays. You must have seen what happened before. Otherwise, you wouldn't have rushed here in the first place. Since you've seen it, you must know who provoked me first, but you still attacked me. This shows that you're not a powerful person. You don't want to offend the grotto heavens. Instead, you chose me, who has no background. But I can only say that you're really stupid. The surrounding people gasped. This guy dares to fight with Luo Fifan. Does he want to die? Even they didn't dare to offend Luo Fifan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to walk out of Qianquan ancient city alive. Great, you're courting death. Yi Xiaofeng smiled ferociously. It seems that this guy is doomed without us doing anything. Chapter 4499. Luo Fifan also smiled. His courage was commendable. Do you know? In Qianquan ancient city, no one has ever dared to resist me, let alone challenge me. You are the first. Speaking of this, his face became gloomy, and there was a hint of killing intent in his eyes. The surrounding space continued to fall and freeze. Even the Saint Kings felt a chill run down their spines. Luo Fifan's strength was definitely at the level of a sage king, and it was very terrifying. If such a person were to attack, no one would be able to resist. I haven't fought for a long time, and I didn't expect that when I fight again, it would be to kill you, an ant. You should feel honored. He stretched out a finger, and the Dharma danced in the sky, stirring up the wind between heaven and earth. When he pointed out his finger, it was like a vast sea rushing over. Everyone was pushed back, and their faces were pale. Buzz. At the same time, an extremely cold light burst out from Lin Xian's eyes like lightning. He took a step forward and clenched his hand into a fist. He threw out a punch like a giant dragon sweeping across the world. Boom! This punch, with an indomitable force, tore the void into pieces. His finger was instantly shattered. Not only that, this punch sent Luo Fifan flying. Luo Fifan was like a kite with a broken string, and he directly hit the array. He fell down and vomited blood. Endless cracks appeared on his body, and his blood instantly dyed the ground red. Those people in the surrounding grotto heavens went crazy. What did they see? He actually attacked Luo Fifan. Moreover, he injured Luo Fifan with a punch. How strong was this kid? Why was he so strong? At the same time, they felt that he was too bold. He would definitely not be able to walk out of the first hall alive. Luo Fifan was injured, and at the same time, countless guards with sabers appeared in front of him. They were cold and murderous, and all of them were staring at Lin Xian. As long as the order was given, they would attack ruthlessly. The middle-aged man with a white face and no beard who had been following him also frowned. He stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, You dare to attack here? Did you mean his guards? In that case, attack. He was the one who didn't know right from wrong and wanted to bully others. I was just teaching him a lesson on how to behave. The middle-aged man didn't say anything. He closed the fan in his hand, and a piercingly cold aura appeared in his eyes. Endless, mysterious trajectories appeared in his eyes, forming the shape of a hexagram. A terrifying soul power flew out from his eyes. Everyone felt as if their souls were about to collapse. This was a destructive soul aura. This middle-aged man was an expert in eye techniques. Not good. Yin Su's expression turned ugly, and even Qin Sienna exclaimed. Soul attacks were the most dangerous. The slightest bit of carelessness would result in the destruction of both body and soul. Lin Xian's eyes exploded with golden light, and at the same time, a reincarnation light appeared and flew forward. He managed to block his opponent's hexagram. Endless laws shattered the array formation. No one dared to approach where the two of them stood. The middle-aged man's pupils constricted, and his face paled. He didn't attack again, his heart filled with shock. He was no ordinary person. He was now 4,800 years old, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of the Saint King realm. However, he had been injured previously and had fallen to the middle stage. Now he was in Qianquan ancient city, recovering from his injuries. Although his cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Saint Venerable realm, he was a cultivator of eye techniques. His hexagram eye technique was extremely terrifying. No one in the same realm as him could block it. This time, he chose to stay in the Luo family and protect Luo Fifan because the Luo family had saved him. He didn't expect to encounter today's incident. Elder Tong, please take him down. Suppress him. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. I want him to regret being born in this world. Luo Fifan roared crazily, his face full of malevolence. He couldn't believe that he was defeated by an ant. This was a great humiliation to him. Only by torturing Luo Fifan could he vent the hatred in his heart. Lu Mang Daoist frowned slightly, but he didn't say anything. He didn't attack either. Luo Fifan stood up and roared crazily. Elder Tong, I told you to kill him. Didn't you hear me? He was really mad. What was wrong with him today? How dare the people around him disobey his orders? Lu Mang Daoist frowned tightly. To be honest, he was only protecting Luo Fifan to repay his kindness. However, Luo Fifan was not qualified to order him around. He could even ignore Luo Fifan's father, let alone Luo Fifan. When Lu Mang Daoist was running rampant in the world, these people weren't even born yet. Of course, there was another reason why he didn't attack. He was too shocked. Although the young man in front of him was only a fake sacred venerate, which was far inferior to him. However, the eye technique just now had left him completely dumbfounded. He felt the power of reincarnation in Luo Fifan's eyes. There was only one person in this area who could control such power. He was from the ethereal peak, and he was an extraordinary person in the ethereal peak who could control the power of reincarnation. The young man in front of him was from the ethereal peak. Moreover, he was of an extraordinary status. Even if the Luo family was one of the three big families in Qianquan ancient city, they would end up in a miserable state if they offended such a person. He shook his head slightly at the thought of this. If he offended the ethereal peak, he could just leave. The world was so big that he could find a mountain to hide in, and those people wouldn't be able to find him. However, the Luo family couldn't do that. The Luo family's foundation was in Qianquan ancient city. Once they offended the ethereal peak, they wouldn't be able to escape. Lu Mang Daoist sighed at the thought of the Luo family saving him. He took out a voice transmission talisman and was about to send a voice transmission to the Luo family head so that he could be prepared. Everyone waited in silence, their scalps tingling. Luo Fifan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the voice transmission talisman lit up. Great! It must be the experts from the Luo family. Once the experts from the Luo family arrive, this kid will definitely regret it. Ha ha ha! This kid is dead meat. Yi Xiaofeng laughed sinisterly. After injuring young Master Luo, he wouldn't be able to walk out of the hall today even if he had 10 lives. Yin Su's face was pale as he whispered, "You two should leave quickly." Qin Xianer was also surprised. This kid was too lawless. If it were her, she wouldn't have dared to do so. However, this guy seemed to have always been like this. No matter where he was, he would always press forward, and no one could stop him. Seeing that Lin Xian and Qin Xianer didn't leave, Sui sighed. He had tried his best. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, another team walked in from the outside. The leader was an old man, and there were 8 figures following behind him. When these people walked in, their powerful aura suppressed everything. Great. Elder, you're here. Yi Xiaofeng exclaimed when he saw this. Hu Renjie also stood up and revealed a sinister smile. Elder, catch this kid. I'll make him regret it. Chapter 4500. The elder waved his hand, and 8 battle servants stepped forward. Among the 8 battle servants, 3 were Saint Kings, and the remaining 5 were half-step Saint Kings. Everyone felt a chill down their spines when they attacked together. Kid, aren't you good at fighting? Why don't you come and hit me? How dare you attack me? I'll make you wish you were dead today. Hu Renjie roared crazily outside. He could finally take his revenge. To be honest, he was also stunned by Lin Fan's strength. But so what? Now that there were 3 Saint Kings and 5 half-step Saint Kings here, no one could fight against them at the same time. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and turned to look at Hu Renjie. A golden light appeared in his eyes. Hu Renjie hugged his head and knelt down, trembling. Damn it! How dare you attack me? That elder was furious. The others were all so shocked. How could Hu Renjie be so embarrassed with just one look? This kid's strength was too terrifying. Hu Renjie felt that his head was about to split open, and his soul was severely injured. This pain was worse than killing him. Kill. The 8 battle servants saw this and attacked crazily. Their master was injured, and they would definitely tear him into pieces. The aura of the 3 Saint Kings was unparalleled. 3 berserk sabers slashed over, while the other 5 people held battle swords in their hands. They formed a sword formation and attacked. The blade light was piercing, and it split the sky and earth. The sword light flashed, and it was unparalleled. Just you? Feeling these people's attacks, Lin Xian's eyes sharpened. In the next moment, a cold light appeared in his eyes. From his body, power spread out, shaking the sky and earth. Then he struck out with his palm. As soon as he used the man-ruler seal, he was like a peerless god of war, sweeping away everything. The 3 blades were instantly shattered. The 8 people vomited blood and flew backward, turning into blood mist. This strike was so terrifying that no one could compare to it. The surrounding people were stunned, whether it was the experts of the Grotto Heavens or the people of the Luo family. They were all dumbfounded. They now knew that they couldn't measure this kid's strength by his cultivation level. This kid definitely had the strength of a Saint King, and he was close to the middle stage of the Saint King realm. Who was he? How could he be so powerful? You're courting death. The old man from the Qingqiu Utopia also shouted angrily. He slapped out with both hands, which transformed into 2 sharp claws, and charged over. The void shattered. Like a storm, it swept towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was grave as he struck out with another palm. Instantly, the sharp claws that filled the sky continuously shattered. The elder felt a strong sense of danger and hurriedly used 3 shields to protect him, resisting the destructive power. But even so, he was still hit by it. His body was torn into pieces as he flew out, unable to stand up again. Lin Xian's strength was extremely powerful, and coupled with the fact that he was using the peerless man-ruler seal, ordinary elders would not be able to withstand it. He sent the elder flying with a single palm strike. Then he continued to walk forward. At this moment, no one dared to stop him. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he knelt on the ground and kept shaking. Hu Renjie also escaped from his soul. He looked at this scene and roared in horror. Damn it, what are you trying to do? How dare you kill me? The Qingqiu Utopia will not let you go. Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, I won't kill you, but I will cut off your limbs and cripple your cultivation. Those were the words that the other party used to threaten him. And now he was returning them to them. Not only did he say it, but he also did it. A sword light appeared in his hand and instantly cut off the other party's limbs. Then he struck out with the man-ruler seal and shattered his cultivation. Hu Renjie fell to the ground and screamed crazily. He felt that he no longer had any strength and had completely become a cripple. He was in despair. The Qingxiu utopia would definitely not raise a cripple. His future would probably be worse than death. "Don't kill me, please spare me." Yi Xiaofeng, who was next to him, also kowtowed crazily when he saw this scene. He was really scared. However, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He also cut off his limbs and crippled his cultivation. It was too terrifying. This method was even more terrifying than killing these people. Moreover, the people from the other grotto heavens also felt their scalps go numb. Previously, they had also mocked this guy. What would happen to them? They did not know. Some people even wanted to escape. However, Lin Xian's gaze swept over them. Suddenly, these people stopped and were all terrified. "We have eyes, but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please spare our lives. Yes, sword maniac young master, please let us go. We will be your slaves." These geniuses from the grotto heavens kept begging for mercy. They were still high and mighty before, but now they were as timid as mice. No one dared to go against Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not say anything. In front of him, a few figures walked out. Suddenly, the world shook, and there was a great Tao flickering under their feet. Obviously, the people who came were very powerful. "Father, you are finally here." Luo Fifan laughed. "Is this person the head of the Luo family?" The other people from the same grotto heavens also breathed a sigh of relief. Not only did they beg for mercy, but they also showed a sneer. "Great. With such a peerless overlord here, the other party will definitely not be able to escape death." Luo Yuanshan walked in. At this moment, his expression was incomparably dignified. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, he had lived for nearly 4,000 years. For a sage king, this was considered a very old age, so he had found a successor. That was Luo Fifan, as the next head of the family. Luo Fifan's performance had been very good, which made him very satisfied. However, today's matter really made him very worried. Luo Yuanshan, a late-stage sage king, did not say anything after he appeared, but his terrifying aura suppressed all directions. No one dared to be arrogant, and all of them kept silent. Qin Xianer was also nervous. Such a terrifying person. Even Lin Xian could not resist. He secretly glanced at Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked calm. He could not defeat a late-stage sage king now. But so what? If he wanted to leave, the other party could not stop him. Moreover, he had the Xiantian order, so the other party would definitely not dare to touch him. After Luo Yuanshan arrived, he came to Lu Mang Daoist and asked something. Lu Mang Daoist whispered a few times, and Luo Yuanshan frowned even more. He glanced at Lin Xian, then walked over. Seeing this scene, Luo Fifan's mouth curved into a smile. Great, his father personally took action. This kid would definitely die. The people in the surrounding grotto heavens were also relieved. With this devil dead, they would be safe. Hu Renjie and Yi Xiaofeng, who had been crippled, also smiled. They wanted to see the other party die with their own eyes. Both Qin Xianer and Insu were extremely nervous. They did not know how Lin Xian would deal with it. Lin Xian looked calm. Although the other party's aura was terrifying, his divine body was strong. However, with his divine body, he could still withstand it. He only needed an instant to summon the Grand Sage Tower. At that time, no matter how strong the other party was, he would not be able to hurt him. In the blink of an eye, Luo Yuanshan had already come to Lin Xian's side. Everyone was nervous. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.